Yes, Oregon State ready to go. Pat Bailey, interim head coach, taking over for Pat Casey. The summary of the season, not as gaudy as last year. The previous 2 years, they won 55 and 56 games. Their RPI at 20. You see the ERA is terrific. But the finish, 8 of the last 13 games they lost. And we told you all about Adley Rushman for sure. And the guy throwing to him is Bryce Femmel. When it's all said and done, one of the most decorated pitchers in terms of wins and accomplishments in Oregon State history.
Loves to take the ball. You can give it to him anytime. Fastball, changeup, curveball, pretty good sink. One thing you have to know about Bryce is you'll know real quick what's happening. When he gets into trouble, nothing is moving. His ball has to move. That's how he becomes so successful.
Cincinnati's lineup. Now, the numbers don't jump off the charts. They do have some weapons in there. Joey Bellini's a guy that gets on base a lot. And keep an eye on A.J. Bumpus in right field. Bumpus, 280. He had a great American tournament. And as you pointed out, Cincinnati won the American. They won 4 straight. And they did it by scoring a ton of runs, which was not at all what their regular season was about. Eric Santiago in the box, and here we go with a fastball that is up. And the count 1-0. Santiago, Joey Bellini, and Wyatt Stapp for the Bearcats, who are just 1 game over 500 at 30 and 29. But here they are, a high pop-up, right field. It's Tyler Malone out there. And Malone makes the catch. Kevin Stockert, former shortstop. Who do you like defensively on this Oregon State squad?
Hey, look, when you look at the middle, it's very strong, but Andy Armstrong playing second base might be the best defensive second baseman in the country. He's a player that's bounced back and forth between second and third base. Talking with head coach Pat Bailey, he had had enough of that and said, you know what, we're sticking him at second. That's where he helps us the most.
Son, a little bit of a factor, especially out in left field right now. And here's big Joey Bellini, the shortstop. You can see it in left. Joe Casey is out there. Yeah, that's Pat's son. And he's having to shade his eyes from the sun that is setting over that first base grandstand. And that's a 2-hopper, a screamer that's off of Phillip. And it's going to be, I would think, an infield hit.
Ooh, now see, you and I disagree already. I would think they might give that an error.
All right.
But that's a shortstop, so I'm always hardest on the shortstop.
Well, I was one of those. You were a better shortstop than me, and they are going to give him an error. So you're right. Wyatt Stapp now, Bellini's aboard. What did Cincinnati's head coach Scott Googins tell us about the offense? He said, on paper, we're not pretty, but we take advantage of opportunities, and this certainly is an opportunity.
That's one thing that they will do, and they work very hard at the little things, the little nuances. I guarantee you there are a certain amount of players in the dugout that are assigned to Bryce Femmel to figure out what he does on the mound that they can pick up and use. They like to be aggressive on the bases.
Big breaking ball for a strike. Chris Griffith, the home plate umpire. Tony Walsh at first. Scott Wilkerson at second. Ryan Moorhead is the third base umpire.
We talked about the sun, too, and we've had a couple of shots. You go back to that error on Bo Phillip at short. The shadows are going to play a role here, and you get a good look at it here from the center field camera. Coming out of that shadow can be tough to get good jumps and reads.
Stapp fouls it back. The sophomore out of Keller, Texas, the transfer from Tennessee. You see the shift as well. If you haven't watched a lot of college baseball, much like Major League Baseball, these colleges are now getting detailed spray charts because so many games are on television. There are companies and services that will give you that detailed spray chart. And so a lot of schools, especially in the bigger conferences, are shifting dramatically. It's out. Rushman set up out, and he just missed.
And are you okay with the shift?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I am too. And I've had a lot of people discussions with other players and so forth, even at the big league level. A lot of guys don't like it. And I'm like, be a better hitter. I mean, I'm okay with the shift.
One thing that makes the shift work even better is if you pitch to it and you hit your spots and you have your command as a pitcher. Bellini's at first. And Femmel from the belt with a 1-2. Off speed, back to him. Femmel's a great fielding pitcher. Got one there, and the Beavers turn 2. The defending national champs get their first swings next. Let's meet the Bearcats out of the American. Look at the RPI at 96. They raced through the conference tournament, scored a ton of runs, won the title game 22-5. So a lot of momentum. Their pitchers, strikeout pitchers. And look at the drought, 1974. It's their first NCAA appearance since then. A great job by Scott Googins. Clayton Colvin, a tall order, and it's first start for Bearcats in 74 in the tournament. He gets the baseball.
Oh, you got to love it in this situation if you're pitching. Fastball 88 to 93, curveball, and a terrific changeup. Keep in mind, he's a bullpen guy that turned himself into a starter, and a really good one.
Question about the Beavers' batting order. You know Rushman is in there. He's in the 3 spot. How do you build around him to protect him in a lineup that has been offensively challenged over the last couple of weeks?
Well, and that's a really good question. In fact, even to late last night, the Oregon State coaching staff was discussing, how do we do that? Do we put him in the 2 spot? Do we put him in the 3 spot? Do we lead him off? They tried different things. I don't know that they've got an answer to protect Rushman. He's going to get his walks. What they're doing today, and you're going to see it here, the top 5 guys for the Oregon State lineup, it is all about on-base percentage. It's about, these are the 5 guys that get on base. He figures, Pat Bailey figures, if he can get guys on in front of them, it'll force their hand to pitch to Adley Rushman.
Tyler Malone swings and misses, and it's 2-1. There's Rushman. He is hitting 3rd. Malone with the on-base percentage of .387. You got Alex McGarry behind him and in front of Rushman, who gets on at a .404 clip. So it's important for Clayton Colvin to throw strikes. Good fastball in on the hands, and he's come back to even the count at 2-2. There was so much firepower in Oregon State's lineup 1 through 9 last year, and most of it ended up in the Major League Draft. A lot of it was in the first round of the Major League Draft last year. Smoke to center. Johnson. Oh, a diving catch. Fighting the sun. You could see it in his glasses, and he made a lunge and held it. Wow.
What a tremendous play to come. I mean, again, you're talking about fighting the sun. They've never been to this park before. It's brand new for them. There's a little hesitation in his stride as he goes, but stays with it. Terrific catch.
It's a big out to get Clayton Colvin. And now Alex McGarry, the designated hitter. Sophomore out of Vancouver, Washington. That's part of what has made the Oregon State story so amazing, even going back to the 2006-2007 national champions. So much of the talent is from the Northwest, from the state of Oregon, the state of Washington. Shallow left, tough sun field. Weimer, battling the sun, makes the catch. That did not look easy. He's known for his mullet out in left, but he makes a really nice play there.
The mullet masher, I talked to him before the game about it, and he said, what are you talking about?
All right, now, here comes Rushman. You saw him an awful lot last year. You've seen him an awful lot this year. Where has he grown as a baseball player?
100%. It is about setting up pitchers. He has become a master of that. Even his coaches talk about how he watches film. When he gets out in a situation like this, you can even see him. He steps in with a real good plan and will set up his pitchers and get a lot of hitting counts.
Just video game type numbers. And that's with the mountain of intentional walks as well. 17 homers, 580 on base, 580 on base, 785 slug, and a 419 average.
One of the biggest changes in Adley over the last 3 years, though, is when he came into this program as a freshman, he thought of himself more as a contact guy. And it took a long time for Pat Case to say, hey, look, you're not a run creator. Like, you're not. You have to get up there and look to swing. He's now what they call a run producer, and they put him in that category in their offense.
Rushman fouls it off. he actually changed his swing in the Cape Cod League, which is not an easy place to change your swing, and it didn't go well. And he came back for the fall before his sophomore season, and it didn't go well in the fall. And then all of a sudden, he said it clicked. It clicked at the end of that fall, just getting ready for that sophomore season. And suddenly the power came. Counts 1 and 2. Fastball is up and out.
The thing that amazes me about Adley and changing the swing is, keep in mind, he's a switch hitter, right? So you never get enough cuts. You never do. Batting practice, you're always getting half of what everybody else does. So here you have a player trying to change his swing. The amount of work that goes into that from both sides, unbelievable.
You have to change 2 swings.
Pretty much, yeah.
2-2. Breaking ball stays alive. Good work from Clayton Colvin. How do you pitch him if you're Clayton Colvin today?
You just can't give him anything down the heart of the plate. Everything has to be competitive but off the corners. I think that's how you pitch him. You certainly can't get behind Adley. I think a lot of teams think that they can pitch away, fastballs away for strikes, but he goes away with power.
This is not a small ballpark. Most call it a fair ballpark. And Colvin buries an off-speed pitch. And the count is 3-2. 335 down the lines, 365 in the gaps, and 400 to center. Now the ball carries better during the day than at night. Just ask Michigan, who had 3 home runs today in their win over Creighton. Three-two. Breaking ball hit hard and down the line. Rushman, who runs pretty well around first, on his way to second. Bumpus's throw is not in time.
All of a sudden, scouts are seeing that he can run as well. That's one thing. He's not afraid to take the extra base. Now, we talked about, you asked me how to pitch him. Even in the 3-2 count, that's way too much plate for that pitch for him. A breaking ball, trying to bend it. You can see his catcher asking for it down, and it's right across the heart of the plate.
Oregon State trying to get on the board first here. 10th of the season for Rushman. Bo Phillip now, the shortstop. That really has been the biggest challenge for Pat Bailey, the interim head coach, is building a lineup before and after Rushman that has some pop to it, some protection to it.
Well, here's a guy that does give him protection. JC transfer, came into the program when Pat Casey, he thought, was here. Has no problem, but boy, he can hit. Real good defensive shortstop. I think he's done a good job replacing Caden Grenier.
Breaking ball is off the glove and all the way to the screen. Mitch Holding, the Cincinnati catcher, did not practice with the team yesterday and took limited batting practice today. He's been sick the last couple of days, and he was a game time decision. And the decision is to have him in the game. And a little more pressure on him now with a runner at third. And a 2-0 count to a good hitter in Bo Phillip.
The challenges in that lineup too is they, the coaching staff had a plan. Malone was going to be that guy to protect. He was going to have Phillip in there as well. But guys struggled, and it just has not worked out the way that it did last year, where you could throw the same guys out all the time. They had that consistency last year.
Three and one. This is not a large stadium in terms of capacity, but it is an intimidating stadium for a visitor. The fans are right on top of the field. There is not much foul territory. Fans are elevated right behind home plate.
Oh, and they love to scream and yell. I mean, if you and I were more visible, they'd be on us the entire game. That's, you know, they have something against umpires as well. They're not afraid of them.
Good breaking ball. Runs the count full. If you're just stopping by, Oregon State, the defending national champs, barely a host. They're the number 16 seed in this tournament, which got them the last regional. They're the number 1 seed here in the regional. Again, certainly a Cinderella in Cincinnati. 3-2. And it runs inside, and a long inning continues for Clayton Colvin. No runs yet. Ryan over now with runners at the corners.
You know, this doesn't surprise me, Rich, in the regard to it's, you know, Clayton is a different pitcher than Femmel. Femmel is a lot of strikes early in the count. Clayton doesn't pitch that way. He's a little bit effectively wild. He'll throw a lot of pitches. He'll get guys in on base, but he's able, or has been able, to get out of trouble. But he'll throw a lot of pitches.
He has spent most of his career coming out of the bullpen, so he's somewhat new to the starting stuff here at the college level. Here's Ober now, the Snohomish, Washington native.
So here's a good example of some of the juggling Oregon State has had to do this year. Ryan Ober is usually a middle infielder. Now has been moved over to first base because of the struggles of Zack Taylor. So he's asked to play a new position as well as fill in that 5-hole in the lineup.
When you have the lineup that you had last year, marching to a national championship, sometimes for a guy like Ober, there's not a lot of at-bats, and he didn't get a lot of at-bats last year. You see Rushman at third, Phillip across the diamond. You think back to that great catch by Tyler Malone that started the inning, and if not for that, you expect Oregon State would have a run or two here. As it is at the corners. Colvin trying to get out of the inning. Runner goes. It's taken for a ball and no throw down to second. Beavers don't run a lot, but they get a stolen base here. The senior out of Dublin, Ohio. Just his 6th start of the season. In the air, let's see if it's playable. It is. Colvin makes the catch. How about that? Clayton Colvin, a tightrope walk. And were it not for the Jeremy Johnson catch, it wouldn't be scoreless. First game of the day, how about Michigan? Number 2 team in the Big Ten taking on the Big East champs, Creighton, and they went long ball. Jimmy Kerr, Jordan Wogu, and Christian Bullock, all in support of their starter, Carl Kaufman.
Oh, he was so good. 8 2/3, 6 hits, 7 strikeouts, 123 pitches. Really, you could think about it, 1 pitch away from his first complete game. What a time to do it.
Cincinnati now here in the second. Joey Weimer, Jace Mercer, A.J. Bumpus. And a big swing and a high pop. Shallow left, difficult play, and it lands. And it's going to be a double. And Weimer celebrating a bit out at second base. That sun is impossible right now in left field.
It is very tough, but right now, Oregon State outfielders play back almost on that warning track. We saw it in the first game today defensively. Guys are afraid the ball's going to carry, would much rather come in on the ball. I mean, Joe Casey out there in left field was one step off the warning track.
That's what you're looking into in the outfield, is that sun. If you're a shortstop or a third baseman and you're headed into the outfield and you turn around, you don't have time to shade the sun. You're looking right into it.
Yeah. This is where I think that the rule where you can't go out and visit the pitcher hurts you. Because in those days when the sun gets you as an infielder, you could always go out and burn time with the pitcher and try to get that sun to drop a little bit. We used to do it all the time when you just couldn't see whatever it is. We'd have him step off, you'd go out and have a little conversation.
Here's Mercer now. If you're Cincinnati, obviously any run is a big run and an opportunity to get him over and get him in. And you see that much more in college baseball than you do in Major League Baseball. Shift is on for Mercer. He'll try to pull something to the right side. And it counts 0-1.
Cincinnati is not the greatest at bunting. Look, head coach, I tell you right now, head coach Scott Googins loves to bunt. But he admittedly says, look, there are times we are not very good at it. And if I can take a shot, this is a good example. Jace Mercer here, I think he believes in it more as pulling a ground ball than laying down a bunt.
Weimer, a ball of energy out at second base, and that seems to bother Femmel. Bearcats do run, and Googins did admit they're not a great base running team, but they have speed. 87 stolen bases this year in 59 games.
Well, you get a good look at him jumping around out there. One of the things about Weimer doing that, it not only affects Femmel, but it affects his hitter. And that's a lot of times. I know, man, playing for years, I had played with a lot of guys that hated any movement at second base because you're right in the sight line. It would drive me nuts. I'd be on him in the dugout in a heartbeat.
Here's the 0-1. He bluffs, and the pitch is out. And it's a ball and a strike. Look, Cincinnati went into that American tournament, and they were under 500, and they won 4 straight. They did not have to face East Carolina. They were on the other side of the bracket. East Carolina, the best team coming out of the American. 3 teams from the American made the NCAA field. UConn, ECU, and Cincinnati. Well, it may have bothered, or it may bother the hitter, but right now it's caught the attention of Bryce Femmel. He's made 2 throws to second. And Femmel has missed with 2 straight. And Weimer has speed. He's swiped 21 bags. He's been caught twice.
Yeah, keep in mind here, though, even from our perspective, even though he's bouncing around and getting off, he's not getting off far enough to be effective here because Rushman from behind the plate has an open throw to third base. I think it would be a big mistake for him to try to steal third in this situation.
Good cut there by Mercer, who was on it and fouls it straight back. Jones Creek, Georgia for Jace Mercer. He's a junior. Switch hitting second baseman. Right side of the infield is really over towards the line. And Mercer trying to stay alive, does. You count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Mercer really is known for his defense, but at the conference tournament, I mean, went crazy. Had 10 hits. His batting average went up from 232 to 261 after 4 games.
And you could say that about just about every
good point
Cincinnati hitter. They had such an incredible tournament and are riding such an amazing high that even though their RPI is not great, they feel like they can compete here. And let's face it, this is a rebuilding job. Scott Googins, who had a terrific run across town at Xavier For 12 years at Xavier, 4 NCAA tournaments, including 2016 and 17. He took over last year and went 28 and 28. He had actually a veteran team last year. This is more of a rebuild year than last year, and they've arrived here way ahead of schedule. Another 2-2. That's a good take on a changeup, and he buried it, and it's 3-2. Now the 3-2. That's in. Terrific at bat by Jace Mercer. And now the Bearcats have runners first and second, and here comes Bumpus. Mercer now with 34 walks this year. That leads Cincinnati. Third base runner already for the Bearcats. Femmel is, as we said earlier, a great fielding pitcher. He was on the all-defensive team in the Pac-12. And really good at getting a ground ball when he needs it, and he needs one right now.
Well, that's a specialty. You're certainly not going to see a bunt here from Bumpus.
Bumpus, line drive, base hit, right field. Weaver around third. Up with the ball is Malone. The throw goes to third, and the Bearcats are on the board. A.J. Bumpus.
AJ was one of those guys for this team at the beginning of the season, was really struggling. I talked to him yesterday and I said, you know, what did he change? And he goes, there was nothing mechanically, it was just mentally. For me, he said, I was getting behind in the count a little bit and I started changing my swing just to be a contact guy. Now he said, I just got to be more aggressive and swing early, and you got a great example of that there.
Mercer is at second, Bumpus is at first. And now Cole Murphy, the first baseman, who has a lot of power. Big power, big strikeouts. And the breaking ball misses out. Femmel already 20 pitches in here. Had a quick first inning, helped himself with a double play ball to end it. He's not been helped by his defense. The Phillip error in the first, and of course the pop-up that fell for a double to open up this inning.
And I think Coach Googins here from Cincinnati smells a big inning. I think in his mind, yes, they have to score first, but when he gets these opportunities to score a bunch, he'll go for it.
Oh, Murphy got a pitch to lift. He fouls it back to the screen. This is a big ball club in Cincinnati. They walked in here today down the right field line, and there's some large humans.
Pretty intimidating off the bus, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Ducart over, has room, and has it. And that's the first out here in the second.
Up next, the catcher, number 23, Mitch Holding.
And now Holding, as we mentioned, there were a few Bearcats that didn't work out yesterday. They stayed at the hotel. There's some sort of bug going through, and Holding had it and still has it. He really is a unique guy. He's Australian and played junior college ball in Texas, Odessa Community College. And the Aussie is up here in a big moment.
Well, they just told us he had allergies, because everybody here now is medicated on allergy medicine. All these teams coming in had no idea what it's like up here in the Northwest. And they told us that he was back at the hotel with that. And I think they realized a little bit more than that.
run across. Jace Mercer's at second, AJ Bumpus at first. That's Mercer dancing in your screen. And Holding fouls that one off the catcher. Adley Rushman. We talked about Rushman as an offensive player. You've seen him an awful lot in this conference, Kevin. As a receiver, as a thrower, he's throwing out 50% of the base stealers. What are his receiving skills like?
They're very good, and that's why he's the co-defensive player of the Pac-12 as well. One of the things that he's really good at is knowing his pitchers, and you'll see him move side to side back here for Femmel. He'll move a little bit further for Femmel because he knows he can hit those spots. With younger pitchers, not so much. And we'll see him go down to a knee, and that's a new thing in college these days. There's a lot of the catchers, even with runners on base, will go down to a knee to try to get that low strike. Adley will do the same thing.
There was a time when only a select few catchers could get away with that. A Tony Pena, Benito Santiago. I'm going back into your era when you were a Philly and a Ray. Actually, you were a Devil Ray, not a Ray.
A Devil Ray, yeah. How about that?
Here's the 1-2. Fastball's up.
I think Adley does okay because you saw him there too. Again, Femmel's a veteran guy, knows how to pitch, so he can wait a little later to move outside. When you see somebody maybe come in, for example, Oregon State, Jake Fennings, a freshman, he'll move earlier. He understands that those young pitchers aren't aware of that yet. They haven't learned how to hit a moving target a little bit. Very smart behind the plate.
So Mercer and Bumpus on. 1 out. Femmel the 2-2. Cincinnati not only has a run, but they've pushed him to 20 pitches this inning after an 8-pitch first inning. Big opportunity for a team that took advantage of a lot of them to win the AAC title. Not hit very well. McMahon went back, and streaking in from right field is Malone to save the day and make the catch. Big swing, but not a deep fly ball.
No, this is terrific communication, believe it or not, prior to the pitch, because Malone's angle, the sun is not a problem for him. You can see in center field, McMahon didn't get a very good jump. Malone's all over it, understanding the situation. That all happens prior to the pitch. You have to communicate, you have to let each other know. Keep in mind, Tyler Malone out there in right field, first year playing right field, has been very good defensively.
Jeremy Johnson now, redshirt junior, Swanee, Georgia, transfer from Auburn. Played 2 seasons with the Tigers. Femmel sticks a breaking ball on the outside part.
Another big shift here by Oregon State as Andy Armstrong is going to go to the shortstop part of the bag. So far, with all the teams that I've seen throughout the year, this has to be the most and the biggest shifting I've seen.
Ball-strike ratio certainly not where Nate Yeski, the fine pitching coach for Oregon State, wants it.
They just threw it by him there. And Femmel doesn't throw real hard. I mean, he's at 87, maybe touch 89 once in a while, pretty rare.
Our gun had that at 85.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's what he's got in the tank, but it looked to me like he threw it right by him.
Now 1-2. Johnson in the 9 spot. Has a little bit of power and great speed. Little chopper slowly hit. Phillip onto first in time. Bearcats on the board, 1-0.
How many guys watch March Madness here? How many times do you guys go nuts when the underdog beats the top dog? Everyone goes nuts for that. People are rooting for you guys to beat Oregon State. You can do it. But stick together, have fun. When things start speeding up and you start getting anxiety, take a deep breath. Relax. It's okay. The best of the best. I'm talking to the superstars in Major League Baseball. Meditate. Take a deep breath. Take a step back, compose themselves, and go out and do it. So, that being said, guys, have fun. Smile. You guys look all serious, man. Be loose. It's the best time of your life. You're going to be talking about this to your grandchildren. So enjoy it, have fun, and I just want to say thank you. For the UC Baseball alum of the past and all the people going forward, you guys are doing something very special for this program. So know that, and thank you. So have fun, like I said, and make sure I stay here till at least Sunday, all right? I got a plane ticket on Sunday. I'm staying here till Sunday.
How good is that? Kevin Euclid, who was an All-American at Cincinnati, addressing his team, and he's addressing, there he is, Euclid thought that was a strike. He sees no problem with that call. Two-time world champion, of course, with Boston. He was a Cincinnati Bearcat, and this team has done something that he did not do, and that's get to the NCAA tournament. That ball is rifled to right. Bumpus in the corner is there, and he makes a running catch. Joe Casey gets into that one, and there's one out. So Euclid, who now opened his own brewery, and he's come up for the weekend to watch his team, gave that inspirational speech. And look, even when he was at Cincinnati, he was the Greek god of walks, as the Oakland front office in the book Moneyball dubbed him. His on-base percentage at Cincinnati was .499.
Goodness gracious.
He had 53 home runs. He's the all-time school leader in home runs, walks, games played, runs scored, on-base percentage. Won a Gold Glove in the big leagues in 2007, 04-07 World Series champs with the Red Sox, and a three-time All-Star. So very cool to have him speak to this group before the game. Slow tapper up the middle. That's going to be a base hit and a wild throw. And it bounces back into the field of play. It did not go out of play. Andy Armstrong is aboard with an infield hit.
One thing I loved about the Euclid story, too, was when he started talking about slowing the game down a little bit. That, to me, was something that's gold right there. And I know Coach Googins loves to have other players come back because they get tired of listening to coaches.
Jake Ducart, just a freshman. He's at third base tonight and in the 8th spot. You got Armstrong at first. Bottom of the order here. The Beavers had a great opportunity in the first. First and third. That one pulled foul. And we're not able to get that run across. And part of that was the great catch by Jeremy Johnson in center, robbing Tyler Malone of at least a double, probably a triple. That opens the first for Oregon State. A.J. Bumpus opens the second with a running catch on the Joe Casey line drive. Not only has Oregon State had to try to replace all that firepower last year, but they've not been healthy, especially in their rotation. They've had injuries in their rotation. Abel, of course, the hero in Omaha last year. Mitchell Verberg, an arm injury. Brandon Eisert has just rejoined the pitching staff. So it's not simply, when you look at Pat Bailey's team, saying, well, how do you replace this? Last season, look at the difference in slugging percentage and on-base percentage. That's a pretty steep drop. And you can, look, if you had that rotation healthy, they'd probably win a lot more than the 38 games, but they just haven't had a healthy rotation all year.
It's the consistency part of it as well, because number-wise don't tell you the whole story. I mean, you might have pitchers go out and throw well, that sort of thing, but when you're having to juggle starters to the pen and back and forth, then that's when you lose guys for periods of time. Brandon Eisert had to become a starter. All of a sudden, he got some soreness in his arm. He had to shut down for 2.5 weeks, right when they needed him most at the end of the season. So the timing couldn't have been worse for him.
Runner goes, and the throw is late. That was either a delayed steal or a really bad jump.
Well, I think this is a delay. Now, they have different types of delayed steals. You'll see Armstrong up here. No, it's just a straight steal. So we'll just call it a bad jump because both of us thought it was. They do have a couple of different delays where they do a one-hop or they have a sign for a two-hop delay.
I don't know if Holding didn't see him because of the left-handed hitter.
It's possible.
But he certainly hesitated. And now Oregon State has an opportunity to tie this game. Roller towards first. And it's Murphy who gets to the bag. And so Clayton Colvin, who pitched out of real trouble in the first and kept Oregon State off the board, is going to try to do it again here. He gets the number 9 hitter, Kyler McMahon.
Center fielder, number 1, Kyler McMahon.
And a minute ago, Euclid walked up right past us here. I thought he was going to come in and maybe talk a little bit about the brewery or whatever you guys. It's hot enough here at Corvallis.
I think he's doing a guest appearance on Cincinnati radio. I went foul back to the screen. I like the last line that he bought his plane ticket to come home on Sunday, so he wants the Bearcats to get to Sunday. That means they have to win either tonight or they have to win tomorrow to get to Sunday, because it isn't going to rain tomorrow. There's not a cloud in the forecast for the next 4 days here in Central Oregon. Ball and a strike. Now Colvin at 37 pitches here in the second inning. As we've pointed out, he's not a guy that's used to going deep as a starter. He was in the bullpen most of the year. Went 4 innings his last start. Breaking ball is hammered. It's a foul ball, it's 1-2. Fastball, little looper, left field, and a dive, and he got it! I think he got it, he did! Weimer, how about this Cincinnati outfield? First it was Johnson in center, then Bumpus at right, and now Weimer saves a run in left. Unbelievable. He got it. Well, if you're going to play the role of Cinderella, and certainly Cincinnati has, you got to make some big plays. This is an enormous one, saving a run. This was first inning. Jeremy Johnson laying out. That saved a run as well. And Cincinnati is up 1-0.
Are we thinking, I mean, count now, it's 1 an inning, right? You just keep it going defensively?
Well, offensively, the Bearcats have been able to get traffic on the bases against Bryce Femmel. This is Santiago, who flew out back in the first. Joey Bellini and Wyatt Stapp will follow. Femmel was pushed in that second inning, gave up a run, and his pitch count climbed over 30. Rushman may have stolen a strike there.
Pat Bailey and Oregon State, they have team goals for every aspect of their game. They have game-to-game expectations, pitching goals, defensive goals, and offensive goals. For example, right now, defensive goals, one of those is trying to get the leadoff hitter out, and I think that's really important for them in this game. Part of it, they don't have the punch that they had last year offensively. Pitch by Femmer.
Outside corner, and Santiago is rung up.
But they also get pretty in-depth in these goals, Rich. One or less error. This is from Pat Bailey. If they commit one or less errors, then they win 86. Actually, it's 81.5% of the time. These are the analytics. We're going to get into some numbers, right? 2 or less consecutive negatives for like a hit, a walk, a hit, or an error, a hit batter, things like that. They keep track of all of that and have it down to a percentage. They're already down one a little bit because they have an error in this game, and you can see that they find themselves down 1-0.
Do they have a goal that's equivalent to the Michigan team card, which has all the plays on it that they wear on their belt?
I know.
Their last play, swinging a foul tip, from hit and run to steal to bunt to first and third to fake this. And the last sign for Michigan on the play card is "Be a dude."
That goal is implied.
Somewhere in the goals there for Oregon State, there's got to be that "Be a dude." Center field, late start, McMahon back, reaches up, it doesn't get it. It's over his head, and it's off the wall. And Bellini arrives at second base.
This will not probably go down as an error, but it certainly is a mental error because he took a step or two in, just a misread. Now, I don't know that the sun got him here. He steps in 1 or 2 steps, and then he decides to go. That hesitation costs him. And remember, this is their park. They play at this time. They should be used to these difficulties with the sun and the glare.
Well, we've seen the great plays by Cincinnati, and we've seen the misplays by Oregon State. And here's Wyatt Stapp, who rolled over on one into a double play back in the third, but he's got Bellini now at second, and 1 out. And you got Weimer on deck. Hit into left center field. That's hit pretty well. McMahon on the run, and he reaches and he can't get it. It's off his glove. Late start by Bellini. Round 30 comes. Relay throw home. Bellini is safe. No, they called him out. The ball popped out. The home plate umpire signaled safe and then ruled out. And certainly this is going to be one that Cincinnati challenges, and we'll get our first look at it at the plate.
I don't think there's any question that Adley was taking the ball out of his glove. However, the fact that he tagged him on the helmet, that would be something to review.
I mean, the first thing is to look and see if he tagged him out to begin with.
Right.
If he beats the tag home.
Terrific relay throw. Look. Yeah, I think that's totally the right call.
Okay.
I also think the slide is not a very good slide. I mean, you see Bellini come in, and watch the slide. For some reason, he decides to do a little bit of a hook slide rather than going straight in. Right there, he gets him on the back, and then he's transferring it out.
Okay. Now, one more step to this. Is Rushman blocking the plate? Does Bellini have to slide around him?
Once he has the ball, right, so he's given him the plate. Once he catches the ball, he's allowed to move in front of the runner. He doesn't actually do that. He gives him a lane.
Okay. Because that's part of the sequence for the NCAA Replay Center as they look at this. There's 3 things to look at, right? It's the original tag. Does he get the tag before he touches the plate? Was he blocking the plate? And did the ball pop out on the transfer?
And I think it goes in order of blocking first.
Right.
So you can't move in front of the runner without the ball, which I felt that he gave him pretty good lane there. You can see the setup. He's got a lane. He tags him. I think he gets him before he gets his hand in there. Not a good slide. And then the transfer.
I'm with you. If he goes if he goes for the plate with his feet.
Oh, he makes it.
He's in there, and he's out. The review goes Oregon State's way. That's a huge play.
Well, it's a huge play at the plate, but also you can't ignore the relay throw. Now, again, McMahon has to go a long way and misses that. But what a terrific throw. I think that was Bo Phillip, the shortstop, throwing that ball home.
Here's the play from the start.
You can see they've got a huge shift on, so they're going to get a double cut. So Bo, the shortstop, number 4, has to go out. Goes off his glove. They set up a double cut. Armstrong came from the freeway to get behind in that double cut. That is a long throw. The fact that he doesn't even one-hop that is very impressive.
And that was Phillip.
Get a look. That started with Joe Casey, who ran over from his position in left field. Nice job backing up.
Now, another thing that's going on now, Nate Yeski, the pitching coach for Oregon State, has been out on the mound, not to talk to his pitcher, but to talk to the umpires. Now, I'm not sure what he is asking for, but whatever it is, I don't think he got it. Because the runner stays at third.
I have no idea. My guess is it has something to do with whether or not he's going to be charged a mound visit during a video review. Just a guess, because there's no other reason for him to go out there and discuss the runners in any way.
Well, now he's obviously making a mound visit.
Absolutely.
All right, so this goes under tag at a base. Tag plays at any base, the NCAA baseball reviewable plays. The biggest difference between NCAA reviews and Major League Baseball reviews, in Major League Baseball, teams have a video coach that actually can look at the video within a 30 to 45 second window and decide and tell the manager whether to challenge. Here, it's all on what you see and what input you get from your player. Here's Weimer now with the runner at third. Wyatt Stout. Big at bat, and Femmel tries to escape. After back-to-back doubles and a great play by his defense, especially Bo Phillip. Weimer had the bloop double back in the second, and he scored the only run of the game. And quickly it's 0-2. Bryce Femmel, senior. Weimer, who made that great catch. 1-2. It's way out. A lot of umpires in orange.
You see Weimer with a smile. He's a guy that likes to entice the crowd. Louder the better.
That's a fair ball, and down the line, and Cincinnati has that run. Weimer in with a double. Boy, have a night. Rocking the mullet. A pair of doubles and a run-saving catch, and it's 2-0.
Weimer doing it with his glove. We saw him making that diving play out there now, and he gets behind in the count. You know, he's a little different, isn't he? I mean, he's got a little Hunter Pence in him. Likes to have fun.
Now you got Jace Mercer, who walked back in the second. Another runner in scoring position out there. Scott Googins told us yesterday that this ball club likes to have fun, and he's kind of a traditional guy. So he's had to look the other way, and he really felt that in that American tournament, they really enjoyed themselves. Their personality started to emerge. And so if it's working, why stop it?
I think it makes it easier to coach, too, because you can back off a little bit less stress for you.
That's into right field. That's a base hit. And Cincinnati, the Cinderella of this NCAA tournament, has a 3-0 lead over the defending national champs. And Oregon State had shifted, but with a runner at second, they really couldn't bring Phillip all the way over onto the first base side of the bag.
That's a big shift. I just think it's a matter of time with Fenway. He's getting up there in his pitch count. He's at 51. This game can't get away from Oregon State. Nobody up in the pen for Oregon State, though. They're going to stick with him, let him ride it out.
Here's Bumpus, who had an RBI single in the second. We may get to see Adley Rushman throw here. Mercer swiped 20 bases, was caught 8 times. And it's the perfect time to run with 2 outs and a 3-0 lead. Not a big lead, and not running. And another base hit for Bumpus. Mercer stops at second. That's 5 consecutive hits. And were it not for that great play at the plate, the damage would be much more.
Take a look at this pitch to Bumpus. You can see where he sets up on the outer half. It's just up, and he relies on movement down and away to left. He's just not getting that ball to move. We talked about that before in the scouting report with him. He has to have movement. He's got to be able to get it down and away if he's going to be effective. Hasn't done it yet.
Cole Murphy now hits a high fly ball. Nothing's been easy for this Oregon State defense, and it's caught there by McMahon in center. 2 more runs for the Bearcats, and a 3-0 lead. NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One as the sun sets over Oregon. Goss Stadium, Oregon State's headlines. Last 4 in, guess what? 4-0 today. Duke, Florida State. We had Michigan in their win over Creighton, a shutout win, and TCU maligned, but all winners. Florida State beating Florida Atlantic. And Omaha right now is leading UCLA 1-0. This certainly a stunner as well. Cincinnati got in because they won the American tournament. They won 4 games. They're just a game over 500. Their RPI is nearly 100. And yet here they are against the defending national champs in Corvallis. A long ways from home, but up 3-0. Tyler Malone, top of the order. And then Alex McGarry, Adley Rushman due up third here in the third inning.
I found it interesting that Cincinnati, going into their conference tournament over the last 5 years, was 0-10 in their conference. Hadn't won a game in their conference tournament.
That ball smoked deep to right and gone, way gone. First home run this season. And it comes at a great time for Oregon State. They're on the board.
Malone had such high expectations. He was going to be the guy that was going to be hitting behind Rushman. He had experience last year in the College World Series. Some of that might have been a lot of pressure on him, and he didn't handle it well early in the season, but he's been swinging so much better as of late. Not your typical leadoff guy.
Now McGarry, and then Rushman. 3-1 ball game, bottom 3. There's Adley Rushman. He doubled in his first at bat. Oregon State last year won their 3rd national championship, beating Arkansas in 3 games. Remember, when they won their first in 2006, they repeated in 2007. Clayton Colvin misses outside. So the expectations on this team high. But remember, as we pointed out, they lost 3 players in the first round of last year's draft, 6 players in the first 10 rounds of the draft. They had 3 starting pitchers injured, and there's no program in the country that can withstand that and not have a dip. But here they are, they're back in the tournament and hosting a regional.
Yeah, Drew Rasmussen last year was taken high. He was part of that 6. He wasn't actually part of the team at the time. Yeah, there's McGarry in his strike. A lot of strikeouts with McGarry, but you know, they put him in the 2-hole knowing that going in. They said, look, he's a big, strong ex-football guy. He's going to give him big swings. He's going to have a lot of strikeouts.
Here's Rushman now for his second at bat. He doubled down the first baseline in the first. He was a football guy, a kicker, and a great kicker. In fact, he was a kickoff specialist for the Oregon State baseball team his freshman year. Had a 63-yard field goal in high school. Of course, his name, Adley Rushman, has been known around Oregon for many, many, many years. His grandfather, the great Ad Rushman, who coached at small Linfield College in McMinnville, Oregon, pitches out and won national championships, his grandfather did, as a head coach in both football and baseball. How about that?
Yeah.
He's in the College Football Hall of Fame as Ad Rushman. He's still around, and he loves to come watch his grandson play. His dad, a terrific athlete as well. Had a great deal to do with his start.
Get a good look here. Again, we talked about him setting up hitters, taking a first pitch fastball, really a good hitter's pitch, trying to work it back into a hitter's count. He finds himself in a 2-1 count. I've always been amazed that I compare a little bit with the numbers here with Adley, a little bit with Barry Bonds, where Barry Bonds had a couple years where he was being intentionally walked. His walks were 170, 180, yet during that time, even with the walks, still hit all the home runs and hit well over 300. It's an extremely efficient swing. When he does swing, you're making contact and good contact. That's what Adley does. Even with all of those walks, still hitting over 400.
2-2. Why not double up on that off-speed pitch down low? Colvin, though, doesn't get the swing in the count at 3-2. Rich Waltz along with Kevin Stocker. Michigan, somewhat of a surprise win. A shutout win over Creighton, Big East champion. 3-2, just got a piece. The Baltimore Orioles have the first pick in the Major League Baseball draft on Monday night. He wouldn't have to change colors of spikes or anything. Question is, will the Orioles take him? Will they go for Bobby Witt Jr., a high school shortstop? But I think everybody in Baseball America called him the best draft prospect since Bryce Harper. Rushman the center. Johnson is there and makes the catch. All right, let's get to know him a little better. Some of you are seeing him for the first time. Who's not big into the Avenger movies in his age group? Swing dancing, though, I didn't know that one. And he's majoring in finance. He can tell you the exact money for the slot of the first overall pick. I think that they covered that in his finance class.
They used him as an example. Right, that's his report, his final report. By the way, I like the Avengers. I'm not in his age group. What does that say?
All right, I didn't mean to pigeonhole that.
Oh, I see.
Phillip walked, stole a bag back in the first. Clayton Colvin has been effectively wild in this because he'll throw one to the screen and then he'll dot the corner. His stuff is really good. You see the ball strike ratio is not great. But remember, this guy had pitched in the bullpen up until about a month ago. And he gets a pop-up here. Mercer is there and makes the catch. Defending national champs are down, but they're on the board. Tyler Malone out towards the railroad tracks.
No, there ain't nothing better than a night like this. No, there ain't nothing better. Ain't nothing better than a night like this.
The ESPN networks bring you every game on the road to Omaha. Starts with regional coverage on ESPN2, ESPNU, the SEC Network, and ESPN3. Whip-around coverage also available through ESPN3 and the Bases Loaded channel. All coverage available on the ESPN app. Matt Schick, Mike Rooney have been at it since early today. Ever since Rooney not only revealed his picks, but also his ties this morning.
I didn't see them. I mean,
social media, you can vote.
Yeah.
I think you were able to vote on day 2 tie.
okay. And then he'll wear it, of course, right? That's the intent.
Right. If tonight ever ends for him, it's been a long day so far. That one fouled at the plate. Mitch Holding, an Australian catcher. Jeremy Johnson, Eric Santiago. With Cincinnati legend Kevin Youkilis in attendance. And strike 3 called. Femmel, good way to open the 4th. Longest droughts of getting to the NCAA baseball tournament. 44 years for Cincinnati. 74. The Big Red Machine was still rolling. I mean, that was right in the middle of the Big Red Machine, right? That's how long ago that was. Central Michigan, Fordham, and Loyola Marymount. I mean, they had yet to win a World Series in the 70s.
That's right.
The Big Red Machine. They won in 75 and 76.
Yeah, and from what I understand, too, I mean, right now the city is really in tune to what's going on with this team. I mean, they are all over it.
They should be. I mean, when they're not fired up, and watching Derek Dietrich go deep on a nightly basis. They've got these Bearcats who, up until a couple weeks ago, nobody even considered them as a possibility to go to the tournament unless they won the American. And they did. 4 wins, they won the American tournament. They didn't just win it, though. They won the title game 22-5 on a 25-hit performance. Ducard has a big chopper from Johnson and throws him out. And there's 2 outs, and Femmel really could use a short pitch, quick inning here. He's at 61 pitches with 2 outs in the 4th.
One of the reasons I think Oregon State's had such a good pitching staff year after year after year is the ability of Nate Yeski, the pitching coach for Oregon State, to be able to get a pitcher in there in between innings and calm them down. I don't know what he says, but he's so well respected in that. They figure out little ways to make adjustments, and his pitchers are able to do that.
Well, Nate Yeski is one of the most respected and one of the most successful pitching coaches in all of college baseball. And a guy that if a major league team picked up the phone and called and plugged him in as the major league pitching coach, I have no doubts he would be very successful. Wes Johnson has done that for the first time. A major league team hired a pitching coach straight out of college. And the Minnesota Twins did it. And that has been a big part of the Twins' success. And there are other pitching coaches in college baseball who have developed major league pitchers who I think could do the same, could step in as major league pitching coaches. For whatever reason, there was always a reluctance of Major League Baseball to hire any college head coaches as managers, pitching coaches as pitching coaches. Unless you came from the minor leagues or played in the major leagues, you weren't admitted to that club. But that seems to be changing. And the Twins' success with Johnson, I think, is opening that door even a little bit wider.
There's no doubt about that. I think you're seeing it not only on the field, you're seeing it in the front offices as well, as you see general managers, analytic departments that are employing brilliant minds, but young, that's never seen the field. And I think that's certainly something that you're seeing more and more of.
And part of that is that the technology, whether it's Rapsodo cameras or TrackMan, it got to the colleges before it got to the major leagues. The colleges have been ahead of that curve. Places like Vandy in North Carolina, Oregon State, Wake Forest, places that are very progressive, have that technology. I mean, you can't go to a successful college program without seeing those Rapsodo cameras and the training methods with baseball labs like Driveline and others. There's a bluff and a fastball that's fouled back and out of play. Cincinnati has had a base runner in every inning, got a run in the second, got 2 more in the third. Jake Fennings is up. Bellini waits, Femmel delivers. And it's 1-2.
You know, at the big league level now, even last year you saw there were some dugouts that had in uniform some guys from the analytic department. They weren't players, never really played the game, but they're down in uniform by their manager, the coaching staff, with the intent of just to listen to see what information they're trying to gather. And they could write it down, and they were able to go back, get the information, and make sure they have it for their coaching staff. Sometimes when you're in the moment as a coach and then after the game you're trying to decompress, you forget what information you want. This way, now they're just there and they can spit it out and use it. At the same time, not a lot of players were okay with that. Because there was, as you know, a lot of times, especially in the past, wearing that uniform, you had to earn that uniform. And then you earned it by going through the minor leagues. Or it was kind of that old-time thinking of, and that has been something that has started to change. If you can play, put the uniform on and play. to go through all that learning and stuff.
The one thing that the modern day college player has that you didn't have or I didn't have back in the day, they have this technology, they have this new wave instruction, and when they're drafted and teams spend millions of dollars to invest in these players, they show up to spring training and they're looking around for TrackMan, they're looking around for the cameras. They want that information because that's how they've learned and that's how they've developed. And so that's why the teams, the major league teams, everywhere have had to try to load up with that stuff, and not just the equipment, but also find instructors who can teach to it, who can interpret the data, who can design pitches using all the information that they've got.
And it's a challenge. I mean, I was listening to Alex Rodriguez and Mike Trout have a conversation about hitting, and Trout was talking about his routine, and it was all old stuff though, still swinging down, doing, so some of the stuff hasn't changed. It's not like the swing dynamics changed drastically, it's just the information.
That ball's hit well, but foul.
It used to always get me when you listen to a lot of people now talk about old school, how they talk about swinging down, and there's so much criticism about swinging down and all that stuff, but it's not understanding what they mean by that. It's not swinging down on top of the baseball. It's swinging down maybe in the first 5 to 6 inches of your swing. After that, everybody has a natural uppercut. Everybody has one in their swing. Maybe an Ichiro at times, but...
Now, wait a minute. Now, that ball was foul, and the third base umpire called it foul immediately. But I mean, it was close. Ryan Moorhead made the call. And I think they're going to look at it, and I don't think this is being initiated by Cincinnati. Now, to be honest with you, the foul poles here are minute. I mean, they're really short.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're going to be able to tell anything if this is what they're looking for. This is right now, our best look. It hits the trees, but it goes obviously well over the foul pole. And this is the challenge, one of the challenges of instant replay at the college level is you don't have the ballparks that are built with camera angles and the number of cameras that you have for a major league game. Femmel will continue to throw. It's 3-1 Cincinnati, top 4. And they are looking to see if it's fair or foul.
Take a look at the graphic here on what's reviewable and not.
Yeah, this is
Fair or foul.
initiated by the crew chief.
Well, looks like they got the answer that they needed.
So call stands. As you and I pointed out, and I don't think anybody at home, no matter how many pixels you've got, could determine if that was fair or foul. So the call stands. The at-bat continues. 1 and 2 to Joey Bellini. Santiago's at first.
They are small foul poles. I got to tell you, maybe that's the next thing in their budget when they redo the park. They can extend the foul poles.
Well, they've got the Jacoby Ellsbury locker room. They've got the Pat Casey porch. Maybe the Adley Rushman foul poles are next. End of the bat, little floater out in the center, and Phillip is there to make the catch. Femmel gets through the 4th. Cincinnati leads it 3-1. In Corvallis, the Corvallis Regional, Michigan shut out Creighton, hit 3 homers without their best player. The Big Ten Player of the Year did not play in that ball game. Jordan Brewer out with turf toe. Michigan plays tomorrow night, and they'll get the winner of this game. And right now, it's Cincinnati on top. For more coverage, the Division I Baseball Tournament interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. We are in Corvallis, gorgeous night, great weather throughout the weekend. I know there's a lot of rain delays across this tournament, across this land, but not in Oregon. Ryan Obert, Joe Casey, Andy Armstrong against Clayton Colvin. That one's foul.
Oh, here they go. Fans were asking for a review.
It's a fun crowd. Maybe not if you're an umpire.
Fantastic crowd.
Left center, Johnson, back, track, has it. Outfield play has been superb from Cincinnati. Johnson made a diving catch in the first. Bumpus a running catch in the second. Weimer a run-saving diving catch in the third. And here's Joe Casey. He is the son of Pat Casey, whose legacy here is right out in front of you. This ballpark, the people here, the buildings here, the banners here, that's Pat Casey. The longtime head coach here, 12 NCAA trips, 3 national titles, 6 College World Series appearances, 5-time National Coach of the Year. Oregon State was not on the college baseball map when he stepped on campus. 900 wins. And who knows, he might not be done as a college head coach. He did resign. Pat Bailey has been named the interim coach, but in the contract that Casey has, that continues as a member of the institution in the athletic department, he has a clause that if he wants to come back and be the head coach, he can do that.
You know, I think too, you know, he admittedly so. You know, after last year and all the winning that he's had here, he had to kind of reevaluate to see, was he burned out a little bit? Could he still give it his all? And sometimes taking a year off, I can tell you when you do that, it's hard to step away and you start to go, man, maybe I still have that fire.
His son is a really nice player himself. Colvin gets to first on the flip from Murphy. And this is opening up as a quiet inning. And Colvin needs it. There was major traffic in the first. Took a great defensive play to keep Oregon State off the board. There was major traffic in the second. That diving catch by Weimer. The home run by Malone in the third is the only run for Oregon State. And Colvin has got the first 2 outs here in the fourth.
See Andy Armstrong come here. The other thing that, you know, we start talking about Pat Casey, but a lot of people don't know, you know, Pat played in the minor leagues. I mean, he was a good baseball player himself, real gangly guy, but he could play, intense. He went to George Fox, and they had asked him at George Fox when he was done there, say, hey, would you be a coach? And he said, I don't want to coach. He goes, no, we want you to be a player coach. So his first couple years, he was a player coach down there. That's kind of how he started his coaching career. When Oregon State years later came and asked him to be the head coach, he originally said, no, I don't want that. But he changed his mind, and look what he's done.
Pat Casey had a sit-down with our Kyle Peterson, and we'll bring you some of that a little later in the game, and addressing that very subject of whether he wants to come back or whether retirement suits him. Armstrong with a 2-1 count. Colvin delivers in on his hands. That might be playable. Murphy is there, and he's got it. How about that? A 1-2-3 inning for Clayton Colvin and a 3-1 Cincinnati lead. Pat Bailey has won a national championship as a head coach at George Fox and has been an associate head coach in this terrific run by Oregon State. He joins us now. What have you seen tonight from your ball club and your starter, Bryce Femmel?
Well, Bryce, whenever he's up, when he elevates pitches, he's just one of those guys that's got to locate down, and every time he's been up, he's gotten hurt. So it's a 3-1 game, and we're fortunate it is a 3-run game. Both fill up the ball he threw at home to Adley was as about a big a time of play as you'll see, where when the score was 3-1. So anyhow, I was very impressed with it.
See a fly ball here to center field. Hey, Pat, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you just to comment a little bit about your catcher, Adley Rushman, and what he's meant to this program. And I got to tell you, I think one of his greatest qualities is just how humble this kid is. Maybe you could just comment on that.
Oh, he just absolutely breathes, sleeps, and eats humility. I mean, he's just the ultimate team guy. I mean, he's just not a great baseball player. More importantly, he's just a great human being. I mean, he's just a great guy. I mean, I love the guy. And I've known him since he was 5 years old, so he's just a wonderful young man, and he's got a great family. Randy and Carol are both, his mom and dad are both great people.
Last question. One of the challenges for you is putting protection in front and behind him. And tonight you've got your on-base guys are all kind of bunched in the top of the lineup around him.
That is correct. We just looked at it today, and we had a coaches meeting, and that's the plan we came up with. And honestly, one of the things that we saw was just the amount of free bases that these guys have given up all year long. Cincinnati, I mean, it was 7.96 free bases per 9 innings as a team. And the guy's starting on the mound right now. I mean, he's throwing really well, but he's given up almost 8 free bases per 9 innings as well. So it's just one of those things where up to this point he's been pretty sharp, and then when we have hit the ball well, it's just been at people, or they've made a couple great plays in the outfield.
Pat, thank you for your time. Good luck today, and good luck for the rest of this regional.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, guys. Have a great evening.
All right, we're having a great time here in Corvallis. Pat Bailey, head coach for Oregon State. High chopper from Weimer, and that's a foul ball. And Weimer, who has drawn the attention of the crowd here, they are... remember, he made that great catch in left field. It's a foul ball.
But is it? The fans want them to take a look at it here.
It's not reviewable because the call happens. It's foul.
It's definitely foul. It's a good call. Umpire was right there, was right on it. That's third base umpire Ron Mackhead out there.
In college, similar to Major League Baseball, any ball, fair or foul that's even with or in front of the fielder down the line is not reviewable. Breaking ball is up and in. But this, look, Weimer is a guy that draws a lot of attention. He rocks the mullet in left. He's got 2 doubles. He's been dancing around at second base. He has been a pain in the neck for Oregon State tonight. He's exactly what Cincinnati is all about. That's a great breaking ball, and strike 3 called.
The little breaking ball, little backup breaking ball. Watch his head. He knows right away that it is, and the fans let him know as well. Look at the smile. So that's fun for him. It's not stressful it's fun for him to get the crowd tonight.
If I could draw a parallel to him, just watching him for 5 innings, he's got a lot of Eric Burns in him.
Oh man, great reference.
Right? I mean, he's got the flowing locks to begin with. He's a ball of kinetic energy. And he's a really good player, terrific athlete.
Yeah. I mean, Burns tries to get a reaction when he goes to the grocery store. I mean, right? I mean, that's.
Jace Mercer had a big hit in the 3rd inning, an RBI single. And it's outside. Mercer with the count now at 2-2.
Just got to look there at UCLA has jumped up on Omaha 5-1. All of a sudden something came alive down there in their regional.
Now that regional and this regional, the winner of both will meet in a super regional, according to the brackets. That one is foul backing out of play. A lot of Pac-12 people immediately said, wow, you could match up UCLA, the 1 seed there, and Oregon State, the 1 seed here, but they still have to win the regional to get into that super regional and have that matchup. A swing and a miss. Bryce Femmel with a nice finish in the 5th. That's a 1-2-3 inning. His first of the night. Scott Googins of Cincinnati when we return.
Okay, he wants to give a shout out to a mentor of his at the end.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me.
So Rushman is due up 5th in the inning. Hi, Coach. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. We're about 60 seconds away. We're going to come back.
Okay. Good.
We're going to run some questions at you. I know you wanted to give a shout out at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can do that, but we got a few other questions for you.
Sure. Sure.
Just some simple trigonometry.
Don't trick me up here now. Don't. What a great environment, though.
Yes.
It really is. Joey Wimmer's getting the brunt of it right now.
That's okay.
That's all right, though.
He seems to be enjoying that, actually.
Yeah, he's pretty flamboyant, and that goes with it. But yeah,
we made the Eric Burns comparison
sure.
last half inning. All right,
sure.
We're almost there. Scott Googins had incredible success at Xavier in Cincinnati, 4 NCAA tournaments, including 16 and 17. Major rebuild job for a school that hadn't been to the NCAA tournament 74. You're ahead of schedule. You told me that yesterday, Coach.
Yeah, again, this is a great group of guys that have really gelled. We've got great senior leadership. They've pulled everything together, and we're on a terrific run right now. Finished in second in our conference. It's a very good competitive conference. Win our conference tournament and being able to get out here, we're really excited.
Why not us is the mantra. You got me saying it up here now. I'll tell you what. Maybe you can explain a little bit of that and how the season shifted for you based on that.
Well, again, I don't think a lot of people gave us credit, again, right or wrong, and we just, talking about, being able to finish second in our conference and being able to go down the conference tournament and win it, and we were down there. I said, why not us? Why not? And the guys really rallied around it. Like I said, it's kind of our mantra right now, and they believe, and that's a big part. When you believe in the hard work, it's paying off. They see the light down the tunnel. We're just out here playing right now. Again, it's fun to coach these guys. They're just playing. It's a great environment here. They're all over us. Joey Weimer's getting probably the brunt of it, but he loves it. That's why you compete. That's why you play. To be in an environment like this, and our guys are loving it.
They wouldn't get on him if he didn't have 2 doubles and an incredible catch to save a run. That's for sure.
Well, I think they didn't like his guitar playing out there after he got that 1 double. But it is they're having fun, and there's a lot of energy in our dugout. There's a lot of energy in this ballpark, and we're just feeding off it.
What's the biggest building block for you to build the program at Cincinnati like you did at Xavier?
I just think the believing in what we're doing. Our guys worked hard, and when you don't have the results, we started 1-9. It's tough to say, hey man, this is the recipe or this is the plan that's going to work, and they stuck with it. And I give the seniors credit. They pulled the troops together. And we've had success, and now they're believing, and it's taken off. Like they're putting in the work, they're doing the stuff, and we're just kind of along for the ride right now.
So I have to ask too, and I know you're a talker, which is great.
That ball in left field, pretty well hit. Back goes Weimer at the wall. It's gone.
Oh shoot!
And it's a 1-run game now.
Yeah.
Well, to get onto that note here, and I know that's not what you like to see, but maybe a little bit about Clayton Colvin on how he can respond to something like this in the middle of a big game.
Yeah, he's given us a good start. We talked about earlier, we wanted to have a good start, and he gave us a good start. You know, again, we're swinging the bats well. Again, we've left some runs out on the field. But, you know, guys are competing, and that's all you ask is, you know, end of the day, you know, can play hard, you know, and play together, and that's what they're doing. And so it's fun to be a part of.
Scott, thank you for your time. I know you've got a shout-out you want to give to someone important to your career.
Yeah, you know, Bruce Gordon had a heart attack about a week ago, and Coach Gordon was head coach here at UC, and again, he means a lot to me and the program and what he's done, and I just want to make sure that he knows that we're thinking about him. We'll see him when we get to Cincinnati. I better get that end of the dugout and get this thing situated. But
that's right.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, go settle him down. Scott Googins, head coach at Cincinnati. That's a terrific bunt by Tyler Malone, and all of a sudden Oregon State is clicking offensively. McMahon's first home run. And Malone with a shift, and see where the third baseman Santiago is playing. That's an easy base hit. Now, Clayton Colvin has been able to navigate his way through and hold this lead. Pitching coach for Cincinnati on his way out, J.D. Heilman. You've got McGarry, but everybody knows who's on deck, and that's Adley Rushman.
And this is a good spot for McGarry. This is why he's hitting in a 2 spot, because you have a runner on first base. McGarry is a strikeout guy or a big hit guy. Everything, he's either dropping in doubles or home runs. That's why you hit him in the 2 spot, because then if he does strike out, Rushman then gets up there with a guy on first.
Rushman has doubled and lined out. So he's a hitter away. There's 1 out. Cincinnati's bullpen has been quiet all night long. Right now, there's activity there. Nothing monumental, but getting loose right now is Nathan Moore. He has just started his routine.
You know, during that conversation, we kind of passed over the home run from Kyler McMahon a little bit out of that 9 spot. McMahon, keep in mind, only a sophomore. Next year, being a junior, they have big plans for him. I tell you what, they know he's going to come out and start to hit. That was a big home run for that young man.
That's a check swing. No swing, says the third base umpire. There's Ryan Moorhead down at third. .6'2", 205. McGarry has some football experience. He'll chopper, slowly hit. Murphy to the ball, and he'll tag him out. And importantly for Cincinnati, first base is open. And the question is now, do you just give him first base?
Yes.
And you do.
Yep.
So it's something that Rushman has had to deal with his entire junior season, and with good reason. He's, many feel, the best player in the country. Now, can Clayton Colvin get Bo Phillip, who has walked and popped up? Another arm is up in the Cincinnati bullpen, and there's a little more purpose down there as 2 arms try to get ready. Rushman at first, Malone at second. Breaking ball, ground ball to short, little flip, and a nice play by Bellini. Cincinnati holds the lead, but Oregon State, the defending national champs, a run closer. Kyler McMahon, first of the year. It's 3-2. NCAA Baseball Regionals, presented by Capital One. In Corvallis, night falling. And so far, Cinderella wearing red and on top. 3-2, Cincinnati on top of the defending national champs. Though the Beavers have a couple of runs and have cut the lead down to 1. Kevin Youkilis who, if you were with us earlier, gave a stirring speech to the Bearcats, his alma mater. That was before the game. The fastball misses into A.J. Bumpus, who's got a couple of hits, RBI single. Both of his hits were yanked to right field, hit hard, and got through a shift. And he's facing a pretty extreme shift right now. Bryce Femmel, this is in, and it's 3-1.
Take a look at this big hole. Now, one thing about this turf in the outfield, this is slow turf. One day, if you get a ground ball, hard ground ball, look at the gap. That ball goes all the way to the wall. It can be challenging, though, because it is slow. It's tough to get it out there.
Drive to right, that's deep. Malone back, and it's gone. Bumpus goes deep, third hit. And Cincinnati has a run back. And now a 4-2 lead. No shift will stop that.
Well, Femmel had retired 7 of his last 8. But not here. Look where the pitch is. The pitch is up, right into Bumpus, and we talked about how he made that shift to being much more aggressive swinging early in the count. He knows it right away.
And the end of the line for Bryce Femmel. Cincinnati, a 4-2 lead in Corvallis. Oregon State going with the lefty out of Reno, Christian Chamberlain, the sophomore. Bullpen has been outstanding this year for Oregon State. A bullpen ERA of 1.70.
Yeah, terrific strike-to-ball ratio, 53-18. Good hard fastball over the top, good curveball. He's not afraid to come inside. That's what I like about him out of the bullpen. So Oregon State team has a trio of left-handers that come out of this pen, Chamberlain being one of them, Brandon Eisert, who is effective, or I should say active. He hasn't pitched in a couple of weeks. Chamberlain in the back end.
And available.
And available, correct.
Chamberlain gets a strike on Cole Murphy, who was 0 for 2. With some big nights for the Bearcats. A.J. Bumpus, 3 hits, including a home run. Joey Weimer's got 2 doubles and an RBI. That's a nasty breaking ball.
Take a look at the breaking ball that you're going to see here. This is the second strike. Lefty on lefty. You see the front hip kind of go. And now watch. He's going to extend it a little bit more. Terrific pitch. And look at the location. You see how Adley moves? He moves slowly. He moves smooth. That's pitching.
Mitch Holding now, the Bearcat catcher, under the weather. Answered the bell. Takes a strike. Now that's, to my count, that's the 3rd time that it feels like Rushman has been able to either steal a strike or preserve a strike on the outside corner. You can see him snap that ball up, trying to get it at the knees.
There's certainly a trick to that. The best catcher I ever saw do that was Charlie O'Brien. Big catcher, could really frame a ball with his body, not his glove. I didn't like Charlie O'Brien. He's the same guy that would trip you coming across home plate. That was his MO. But when it came to framing, nobody did it better.
.90 miles an hour on the fastball. Christian Chamberlain announcing his presence. First getting Murphy, now getting Holding.
Same thing here. Strike 2. Go back to, but this time it's fastball, so he works him away, even though Adley's set up a little bit. You see Adley just stays down the middle. Ball drifts a little bit. I'm not sure. That ball to me is down the middle. He got away with it. But you see how he's competitive. He's in the strike zone. He's not wasting pitches.
Jeremy Johnson now 0 for 2, couple ground outs. Femmel went 5+ innings, 9 hits to 4 runs.
He's cruising. Cincinnati hitters cannot allow Chamberlain to get into his rhythm. They got to figure out a way to disrupt it.
Crowd here is something, and it was fun to hear Scott Googins talk about it. He loves the atmosphere here. It doesn't seem to be bothering Cincinnati. They seem to thrive on it right now. Still a lot of baseball left here tonight. Opening day of the Corvallis Regional. In the air, Ober and Rushman, and neither of them get a glove on it.
Yeah, this again, third mental mistake here. This is Ober's ball from first base, 100%. Now, Ober's not a natural first baseman, but he's been there most of the year. He gets there in plenty of time. There's no reason for him to be peaking as much. Just get in there, be loud. That is another mental mistake. I suspect they'll give that an error. If they haven't, they should.
It did not look like Chamberlain was directing any traffic there.
Well, I don't know that he needed to direct traffic. I mean, that to me, again, one of the issues in college, too, is you don't get a lot of practice time. You never get to work on pop-ups like that, right? So, to me, that's Ober's ball all the way. Pretty fundamental.
And it ends up being a walk for Johnson, who has good speed, 19 stolen bases. And it brings up leadoff man Eric Santiago.
Number 10, Eric Santiago.
Cincinnati will run, and with success. They swiped 87 bases this year. You got a different look on the mound with the lefty Chamberlain. And he comes right after Santiago and misses up. It would be fascinating to look at Oregon State's scouting report for the Cincinnati hitters, because their tournament was so dramatically different than their regular season.
It's about getting hot at the right time, right? I mean, you've heard it before and you've said it. I think in regional play like this, in 4-team tournaments, there's so much of it is true, especially when you play in Cincinnati where the weather is so poor at the beginning of the season. You can get hot at the end of the season. Kind of see your true colors.
The challenge is, how do you stay hot in the layoff that you have, the 4 or 5 days from end of conference tournament to the start of the regional?
Well, you know, they're used to that. They don't have the midweek, for example, but I think they get used to that. I mean, it's 4 or 5 days off. It's pretty normal for them. That's their routine.
That ball's hit the left center field, hit pretty well. McMahon after it at the track, reaches and doesn't get it. It's off the wall. Johnson around third. Cincinnati has another run. And that pop-up that fell between Ober and Rushman really hurts now.
These mistakes that you're seeing, the mental mistakes, dropped fly balls, a few balls in the outfield probably could have been caught. These sort of things, very uncharacteristic of Oregon State baseball.
Number 2, Joey Bellini.
But on the flip side, Cincinnati has taken advantage of that. We talk about how that's what they do, right? I mean, in the open, they're just a team that they take advantage of the mistakes, they pick away.
Here is Bellini now. He has a double, 5 doubles tonight from the Bearcats, and a home run by A.J. Bumpus. That started the inning and chased Bryce Femmel, and a 5-2 lead in the top of the 6th. And Bellini fouls it back. We told you that the Corvallis Regional is tied to the Los Angeles Regional in terms of winners will meet in a super regional, and that UCLA was down early, but they're up now 5-1. The Bruins, the #1 overall seed, leading Omaha 5-1. That's in the bottom of the 7th. Cincinnati would love to add another run here. And of course, their starter, even though he's given up a couple of runs, Clayton Colvin has gone 5 so far. Their bullpen was very active at the end of the bottom of the 5th. Runner goes, ball in the air to center. McMahon is there, and he makes the catch. Well, after the Bumpus home run, this pop-up. A walk to Johnson, and the RBI double by Santiago. This week, Sunday Night Baseball in New York. Series finale. Red Sox, Yankees. You think Uke will be watching? Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN app. Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. It's a David Price, Masahiro Tanaka matchup. Kevin Youkilis, Cincinnati Bearcat, who gave a stirring pregame speech to this team. And the first pitch fastball starts Ryan Ober's at bat out. Mason Deanna is behind the plate. Deanna hops back in. Remember, Mitch Holding started but was ill for the last couple of days. Deanna is in. He'll try to coax another inning out of Clayton Colvin. Big breaking ball for a strike. Colvin, as we've noted, been in the bullpen for the last 3.5 years. Just his 6th start this year. His last start in the American tournament against Tulane, he lasted just 4 innings. Gave up 4 runs on 4 hits.
That's one thing about Colvin as well. You know, when he came out of the bullpen, Cincinnati was having some issues with their starting pitchers. They said, let's try him. So they tried him against ECU, a terrific team. Let's throw him out there. He did so well that it earned him a start at Memphis, where he had the best start of his career. Just like that, solidified his spot in the rotation.
High fly ball left field. Weimer, the focus of this raucous crowd here tonight, makes the catch. And an out here in the bottom of the 6th.
The left fielder, number 6, Joe Casey.
Here's Joe Casey now. As much as we've talked about the hot teams in this tournament, and Creighton was one of those, certainly Cincinnati one of those, Oregon State was not. The Beavers lost 4 of their last 7. Lost that 3-game series here in Corvallis against USC, which did not have a great year.
Yesterday, I ran into Pat Bailey at workouts, and I asked him if he thought his team was loose. Were they a little tight just because of the last run that they had, the last couple of weeks? And he was really quick to say, no, you know, I've told them enough. These guys know how to stay loose. They've been in this situation. Most of them have been in a situation like this, had a ton of confidence that they were staying loose. I'll be honest with you, they were the quietest team yesterday out practicing, but they still do have class. They're coming from class. They've been here before. It's their park.
Johnson in center field. We would be remiss if we don't mention the early plays in the outfield by Cincinnati, because Oregon State had some really good swings. Even Coach Bailey told us in our interview with him that he was happy with the contact they were making. Johnson made an incredible diving catch in left. Bumpus, a running catch against the wall in right. And then, of course, Weimer's was that full-out dive that literally saved a run. With a runner in scoring position, and that ended the 2nd inning.
Well, this is a little bit of a difference between last year's team and this year's team. Last year's team, things like that might happen where you're the defense is like stepping up and making plays. There was no panic. There was no stress because they had such a powerful lineup up and down. This year it's a little bit different team. They really do rely on the pitching and the bullpen. But when they get down like this, there's a little bit of, I don't know if the word is panic, there's a little bit of pressure that the guys put on themselves. It's a little bit different than last year.
On the flip side of that, here's Cincinnati, a team with absolutely nothing to lose. Nobody expected them to be here. They didn't expect themselves to be here 2 weeks ago. They had that great run at the American tournament. And their confidence seems to be growing with every inning here. They had a 3-0 lead, gave up a couple runs, and just got those 2 runs back. And so while all the pressure seems to be on the side of Oregon State, Cincinnati is playing loose and free and having fun in front of a crowd that is not an easy crowd to play in front of. Again, not a huge crowd. I mean, there's probably close to, what, 4,000 here? But they are right on top of the field, and they are loud. That's a fair ball and should be extra bases. Weimer into the corner to dig it out. Armstrong in there with a double. His second hit. And that'll get an at-bat for Jake Ducart.
Well, and Andy is a veteran guy. He understands the situation. He's really turned around his offense as of late. And part of that is being more aggressive early in the count. But again, it's flipping the guy. You got the next 2 guys up in Ducart. You got McMahon after that. Although there might be a pinch hitter here with Preston Jones possibly coming up. I also like the fact, as you see, Colvin is still out there. As far as we know, we can see there's nobody up in the pen. That kind of goes to your talking about being loose. You know, he's a senior, and he's out there, and he's a little all over, but he's been effective, and he's not getting rattled by the crowd. Sometimes you can be a little bit nervous to go to your pen because you're not sure what you're going to get when they come in.
Well, it looks like the Cincinnati pen is going to get in motion here. And Oregon State is going to pull the trigger on a pinch hitter, Zach Zaleski, a left-handed bat, a catcher, local kid out of Corvallis High School.
Zaleski can hit, a lot of power. The last 3 or 4 weeks of the season was getting more playing time and was really showing off his bat.
Pulls it on the ground, picked up by Murphy and Clayton Colvin. 6 innings for Cincinnati, has a 5-2 lead in Corvallis.
Ain't nothing better than a night like this. No, there ain't nothing better than a night like this.
Welcome everyone to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series.
No, there ain't nothing better.
That's one way to get it started.
Ain't nothing better than a night like this.
It is called. The 0-2. He got him. Gets one to hit, drops it to right. This one is gone. And the Beavers are on top of the college baseball world.
Well, that was last year. This is this year. The first step in trying to defend that national title. Oregon State at home against a Cinderella in Cincinnati. And right now, Cincinnati has a 5-2 lead in the 7th in a hostile environment. George Mendozona is at third base. Laid on a fastball there. Christian Chamberlain still in there. There's Zack Taylor over at first base. Boy, Chamberlain looks sharp, and he had that one blip at the end, that double by Santiago after the pop-up fell that should have been the 3rd out. But he's punched out 3 of the 4 outs he's recorded.
One thing with Oregon State, one of their goals is always to try to score each inning. The other one is to try to break the game down into smaller chunks. Well, here you go, 7th inning. You can break this game into just 3-inning chunks. For them, It's the 7, 8, and 9th, and that's what they're going to try to win.
High pop. And again, this time Rushman is out, and Rushman holding his mask makes a great play. That's not an easy play at all with a catcher's glove, catcher's gear.
This just really shouldn't happen. I just don't understand why Rushman has to make this play. I will say I'm not a huge guy in saying that pitchers can't make a play. I mean, I don't see why you can't get Chamberlain. He's an athlete. He can do that. But really, Zack Taylor just comes in. Tough play. But your catcher shouldn't have to go out that far and make a catch in the infield. Shouldn't happen. Good play.
Right. And look, there are plenty of Major League scouts here tonight. There's talent in this game on both sides of the diamond, but the majority of the focus is on Rushman. Not that anyone is undecided on him at this point, but you never know what can happen at the top of a draft. What are the Baltimore Orioles thinking? Is that a done deal? Is Rushman their guy? He's projected by just about everybody, including our Keith Law, to be the #1 draft pick. Baseball America called him the best draft prospect since Bryce Harper. So to me, that's a #1 pick. That's the #1 pick overall.
And I do think that when you find a catcher with the ability that he has, a switch-hitting catcher with that ability, I think it's hard to pass up. You don't want to let him drop. And I also think not only the ability that he has as far as his playing ability, it's hard to find kids right out of college or high school that have the poise that he has in front of a camera or with the press or with how to handle all the attention. There is true value to that.
High fastball there. It's 1-2. Jake Mercer, switch hitter. He has walked, had an RBI single, and has struck out.
You know, Rich, I remember the scout that drafted me back in the day framed the report that he sent into the Phillies and gave it to me. The top line had the stats and everything. The rest of the report was everything that was intangible. Looked me in the eyes when he shook my hand. Has good family, nice parents, and so on.
Good grooming habits. That was good too, and that drops in for a base hit.
Say grooming habits?
Mercer. Well, that's intangible, right?
Well, sure. Like on Rushman, it might say good swing dancer, right? You know, something like that.
Absolutely.
I see you.
Has great field goal distance. Kicked a 63-yarder in high school. Here is A.J. Bumpus, and boy, has he had fun tonight. He's pulled 2 balls through the right side for hits. And then with a major shift on his third at bat, why not just hit it over the shift? And here is Bumpus, but it's lefty on lefty action here. And a breaking ball for a strike. He's not faced Chamberlain, who has looked really sharp. And with the shift on, that ball is going to dribble up the middle for a hit. One of the things that Oregon State does when they shift a left-handed bat is they don't bring their shortstop over on that first base side of the bag.
Yeah, and it is killing them. Look at that hole. I mean, if you're going to commit to it. It's a terrific play. We talked about Armstrong's range and his ability at second base. I mean, that keeps the runner at second base. I mean, how about Bumpus? He's now, in his last 18 at-bats, he's had 13 hits with 3 home runs.
You documented the great tournament that he had in the AAC. And he's found a way to keep the momentum going despite the 4 or 5 day layoff.
I just think they're so excited. There's so much adrenaline to them. That tournament was yesterday.
And remember what Euclid said before the game, and we played it early, and we'll probably play a little bit of it as we go along. He said, if you feel the game speeding up, take a deep breath. And he said, the best players in Major League Baseball, whether it's meditation or whether it's the ability to just calm themselves, have that ability in that moment. And darned if it seems like Cincinnati has done exactly that every time there's been a big moment in this game. It's a strike and it's 0-2. Cincinnati. And this crowd, I think, a little bit on their heels right now. It's a check swing and no swing by Cole Murphy. Chamberlain against the lefty.
Gotta believe in this situation, you spin a big breaking ball. That's how they got him the first time.
Chamberlain has a good one. Rushman smothers it. Tennessee down, Liberty up 6-1. Hurricanes down in the 9th. Here, Cincinnati beating Oregon State. Fastball, fly ball, foul, and out of play.
It's an interesting pitch right there. In a 2-2 count, I just believe that a pitcher should throw their best pitch. He has a good fastball. I like that he challenges him, but he does not want to go to 3-2. I think he's an out with the curveball. I think he's got a good enough curveball in a 2-2 count here that he throws that on the outer half. Trust his catcher.
Two-two. Fastball, and a good job not to get beat by velocity there by Cole Murphy. That looked like breaking ball, fight off fastball.
I don't know how you do that. I think you have to look fast. He throws too hard. I mean, he's throwing 90 miles an hour. You have to look for it. There it is.
There's the breaking ball, and there's the strikeout. Chamberlain, a strikeout. Bearcats leave a couple. 7th inning stretch. It's 5-2 Cincinnati. NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. Full house here in Corvallis, Oregon State. The number 16 overall seed in the tournament and the 1 seed in this regional with 4 teams. Cincinnati just happy to be here. And A.J. Coleman comes in to take over for Clayton Colvin. The Bearcats get into the tournament by winning the AAC. Won that tournament by winning 4 games. Arrive here. And they have been terrific tonight.
Well, Kyler McMahon, right? You don't expect this from the bottom of your lineup. How about this swing right here? A little guy going deep. We've seen a few today. Does he have the same magic? I suspect he's got to try to take some pitches here, even though he had that last at-bat. And it will be tough against A.J. Coleman because A.J. is a stud. He is a guy, and this situation has worked out well for Cincinnati. And they call him kind of that bridge guy to their closer.
What a great position to be in if you're Scott Googins. Your starter goes 6. And remember, it's a reliever turned into a starter. He gives you 6 innings. You've got a 3-run lead. And it's the first game of the tournament, so to speak, of the regional. So you can pick from anybody you've got. You can go to your number 1 bullpen. If you got a starter that you think can get you some outs, you can go there as well. You just need 9 outs.
You need 9 outs. But this worked out exactly how they drew it up. They love Coleman, who used to be a starter for 3 years, and they asked him, hey, we need someone to get to our closer. We need that to bridge that gap. He said, I'll do it. I have no problem with that. He leads the team in innings. They call him Mr. Reliable. He throws a lot of strikes, and that's what you're going to see from him.
Two-one in on the hands, and McMahon fouls it off. This has been kind of a roller coaster ride for Kyler McMahon. He did homer in the 5th inning, but he's had 3 or 4 balls out in center field that some have been just off his glove, one that he kind of misjudged. He's had a busy night out there and not a lot of easy plays. That one hit him. Coleman ran it inside, and it just gets the shirt of McMahon. That's a good start for the Beavers.
Just got the shirt.
Yep. Tyler Malone now. Malone hit that line drive to deep center. Johnson made the diving catch on in the 1st. Homered in the 3rd. Bunt single in the 5th. He's had a really nice night. And Coleman needs to throw strikes here because in the hole behind McGarry, who's on deck, is Adley Rushman.
Hey, look, and Malone is a guy that can get up on the plate. If I'm him, he's got that big hole with a runner on first base. He can hook a ball with the best of them. Use that hole.
A lot of arm side run right now for Coleman, and it's taking him out of the strike zone.
Yeah.
Check swing, and he gets a strike, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, see, and that's one of the things with Malone this year, I think, where he's a little indecisive, where he's got a 2-0 count in his favor. And you know what you got to do. You got to make up that plan before you step in. His plan should be to pull something through that hole. There's no reason for a check swing on a fastball that's on the inner half in that situation. Clear your mind a little bit here.
Count 2-1. Top of the order for the Beavers. Oregon State down 5-2. Bottom 7. Cincinnati looking for a major upset. First day of the NCAA baseball tournament. And it's out. Coleman having trouble again finding the plate. He misses again. Arm side troubles. Everything is missing in to right-handers and out to lefties. And here comes the crowd. They are right on top of you in this ballpark.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation here. So you're down by 3 and McGarry's up. McGarry's not going to bunt or anything like that, but they're not a team that likes to run or steal bases. To me, this is a perfect scenario for Oregon State with the right guy up and the right guy on deck.
A hit batter and a walk. In the very spot of the Oregon State order that you don't want to give out free passes, because Adley Rushman is on deck. McGarry has big power as well. And Cincinnati searching for 9 outs with a 3-run lead.
And I do think that, and I'm not sure the pen is going. I know in the tournament they messed with Corin Thompson, the closer for Cincinnati. He hadn't really gone more than an inning until the conference tournament. They pushed it and had him go 2 innings. See him down there.
Nathan Moore.
So they didn't even have Thompson up and going yet.
Colvin went 6. Coleman here in the 7th. Beavers with runners at first and second. Big crowd. They've been waiting for that big moment. The biggest roar in this ball game was the play at the plate that cost Cincinnati a run, and that great throw on the relay from Bo Phillip and the tag by Adley Rushman. And that wiped out a run. This very easily could be a 6-2 game. Finally catches that corner.
Well, and it surprises me a little bit, not the pitch. I go back to finish the thought on Thompson. He's their big arm, big closer. I thought in the conversations we have with the coaching staff, they were going to start to explore the idea of letting him go in high leverage situations, right? I mean, going a little bit longer rather than just the 9th inning. It surprises me a little bit that he's not up in the pen, but I think there's a lot of faith in Coleman as well. Experienced pitcher.
And to the bat, he quickly has an 0-2 count on McGarry. And this has kind of been the story of Oregon State this year. They lost so much firepower to the MLB draft last year. 3 first-rounders, 6 players in the first 10 rounds, so much of their offense. Scratching for runs right now with their biggest bat on deck. 0-2. Nice job by Deanna to block a ball in the dirt. Rushman waits in a big spot here. And the 1-2. Ground ball base hit left field. Charging is Weimer. Runner held, and they are loaded for Rushman. Rushman has doubled, line to center, and was intentionally walked.
They're going to walk him. I think they're going to intentionally walk him.
Wow, that's going to walk in a run. With the bases loaded, they are going to walk Rushman. The Beavers get a run. The bags are loaded. And it's 5-3.
I tell you what, Rich, I don't like to see it, but I think it is the right move, and I think this is a move that they discussed probably back in the hotel room. If this situation comes up, what are we going to do? And they stuck to their guns. It takes a lot of guts to do that.
Now they need to get outs to make it pay off. Bags loaded, nobody out, run across. An intentional walk to Adley Rushman to walk in a run. Somewhere Buck Showalter is smiling. There's a strike. Phillip has popped out, bounced into a fielder's choice, and has walked. Infield is back for 2. Corners are even. Coleman, the 0-1. And he gets strike 2.
Good pitches by Coleman. Very smart pitcher. In other words, he understands the situation in that Bo's trying to get a ball up in the zone. That's easier to hit a ball in the outfield. So he's just going to throw him down with a lot of run, slider down, fastball down and in.
He's got Phillip 0-2. He got him. There's the first out.
You know, his other 2 pitches were filthy. This one I thought was a pretty basic 0-2 pitch that he probably missed. It runs back over the plate. I think Bo just froze. He knows it.
Now over. 0 for 3. Excuse me, Zack Taylor. Remember, Taylor came in, and this is his first at bat. Big kid in a big spot. Breaking ball starts the at bat. Middle infield still back for 2. Corner still even. Cincinnati elected to walk Adley Rushman intentionally with the bases loaded to make it a 2-run game with nobody out. Colvin has the first out. He struck out Phillip. That just missed. Deanna tried to frame it. Malone walks. McGarry singled, and Rushman, to everybody's surprise, was intentionally walked with the bases loaded.
I'm not sure I was surprised as much as I was disappointed.
And that's in. And now, the count's 3-0. That's a strike, and it's 3-1.
Hitters count. Zach needs to look for something up. You're not taking here, though. Absolutely not. You're in a situation to break this game or get back into this game. Just look for something up in the zone that you can drive to the outfield or in the air. That would play here kills you.
Taylor, one of the College World Series heroes of last year, who has slumped this year. 3-1. Hard hit, base hit, left field. Scoring is Malone. Here comes McGarry. Throw is wide. Game is tied. The intentional walk, a gamble. You need to follow up with outs. And Oregon State makes them pay. Postseason hero last year. He opens the postseason with an enormous 2-run single.
You know, Rich, one of the things that I love in playoff baseball, to say this playoff baseball, is whatever you did during the regular season is wiped out and doesn't matter. It really is just about wins and losses. Zack Taylor hitting a .119 on the year and really struggling. Doesn't matter, and look what happens. Just like that, he comes through for his team.
Rushman is at second base. Falling behind again is Coleman. Joe Casey was lined out, bounced out, flied out. In the air, behind third, Santiago, Bellini, and Weimer. It's Weimer who makes the catch. Second out. Andy Armstrong now, the second baseman, who's 2 for 3 tonight. Opening round in Corvallis. Cincinnati, decided underdogs. Got an early lead and held it all the way until here in the bottom of the 7th. And a real gamble to intentionally walk Rushman with the bases loaded. to make it a 5-3 game. That came with nobody out. Coleman got the next out, but then Taylor smacked one into left to tie it. Pretty good pitch there. But it's a ball, and the ball-strike ratio is not pretty. Clayton Colvin gave up 2 runs in 6 innings. Oregon State has 3 runs here in the 7th.
Just struggling with his control right now with all of his pitches, not able to get those consistent strikes.
Both bullpens are active right now. Armstrong awaits a 2-1 pitch. Into right field. That's a hit. Bumpus has a good arm. Round third. Here comes Taylor. He scores. Rushman comes across. Oregon State has the lead.
You are kidding. Now, Bumpus has the best outfield arm on this team. Just another notch here for Rushman as he scores on a tough base hit. But Andy Armstrong struggled all season, solidified now at second base. He just understands what you do as a team leader. Look at the load in his arm. So much like Mark Witten. Hard-hitting Witten, just a little bit up the first base line.
And it's Rushman across. Armstrong, his 3rd hit. And now the lead is gone. Coleman is gone. And the right-hander Moore comes out of the bullpen. What a turn of events. And again, the gamble in the early part of the inning with the bags loaded and nobody out. Do you pitch to everybody's player of the year, Adley Rushman? An intentional walk. It made it 5-3. Coleman got the next out. But as we pointed out, Taylor, who had slumped so much this year, who was such a nice part of last year's postseason.
Well, this will be talked about, going back to that intentional walk. I got to tell you, I haven't been part of a game where somebody intentionally walked a run in. Now, I've been part of a team that has pitched around guys that walked somebody. And you know what? I'm not sure that I disagree with that call. I'm okay with the intentional walk. You got to credit to the guys behind him.
Well, look, in recent memory, you certainly think about Buck Showalter and Barry Bonds. Here's the difference between this year and last year offensively for Oregon State. Last season, of course, an offensive juggernaut. I mean, look at the on-base and the slugging, and look at the difference this year. They had a lot of home runs late last year, did Oregon State. They can certainly add to that total of 45 here in this postseason. But they really have had to win games in different fashion this year.
Yeah, and I think another stat that's really important, and you just can't fit them all in there, though. This year, coming into this game, 314 runs scored. Last year's team was well over 500 runs at this stage. I mean, that is an enormous difference in just run scoring. A lot of pressure on your pitching staff and bullpen.
So now Cincinnati's bullpen, instead of trying to keep the lead, Nathan Moore is trying to keep them in the game here. With Taylor at second and Armstrong at first. Mendozona, who came in defensively with his first at bat now. 2 outs, 4 runs across, and a whole new ball game in Corvallis. Left center field, and well hit. Weimer at the track makes the catch. The Beavers are back. Their first steps of the 2019 postseason. A huge comeback in Corvallis. Yeah, I kicked the Rushman thing there, didn't I? Cincinnati had effectively taken the crowd out of this game until the bottom of the 7th, and they have erupted here in Corvallis. 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th. The bases loaded walk to Adley Rushman with nobody out. Our research department working hard to try to find the number of times it's happened in the major leagues. And we talked about Barry Bonds. Josh Hamilton apparently was intentionally walked as well. That's the only 2 instances right now that they've been able to find in, what, 70 years in the big leagues?
Doesn't happen often. And not only that, it doesn't happen often, like twice. The one thing you might think about that is that there were no outs, right? With no out. Maybe with 1 out, okay, yes. I still think it's the right decision. Not only that, that takes some serious guts. Scott Googins to do that, I credit him for doing it.
Well, as we've said, I mean, Cincinnati is here with nothing to lose. They've been playing loose and free and having fun. Mason Deanna, his first at bat. He came in defensively behind the plate. Joey Munt out of the bullpen. And now look, the strength of this Oregon State team has been that bullpen. And so the Pens got a 1-run lead with 6 outs to get to avoid what would be an enormous upset. This is 8-9-1 in the Cincinnati order.
So if I heard you right, it's happened twice in the big leagues and now to a college catcher at Oregon State, right? Intentionally walked.
Look, I'm sure it's happened in other places that we
haven't seen it.
Our research department is great, but they've got their limits. They're looking. And that hits him. Now, the hit batter rule in college baseball over the last few years has been refined, so to speak, for a couple of reasons. You know, they don't want hitters diving into balls, and the rules have tried to eliminate that. That looked like just a simple turn into a breaking ball that was coming in, so no real discussion on it. And the tying run's aboard, and here's Jeremy Johnson. He was walked and bounced out twice. You got Santiago up next. He's 2 for 4 with a double.
You gotta lay a bunt. He's gonna do it.
Munt's gonna get the out at first and almost overshoot the runway there. But he gets the out. The easiest throws are sometimes the hardest for a guy that's used to throwing 90 miles an hour up on a mound. Well, good sacrifice. Here's Santiago, who doubled in the 6th. Right side is wide open. Armstrong over trying to keep Deanna close at second. Joey Munt is big, 6'5", 216 big. Got a brother in the NFL who played at Oregon. Up the middle, cut off there by Phillip, in the dirt, bobbled, safe. Cincinnati right back off the canvas. And with runners at the corners and one out. And here comes Bellini. Phillip cut it off, but the throw, remember that Zack Taylor over there at first.
You know, that's a tough hop, and I will say this about Zack Taylor. You make the decision there to maybe stretch and give it a shot, but what you don't want is for the ball to get by you. I think that's the right choice. He just bobbled it, because then all of a sudden the floodgates open.
I don't think that scoring decision is correct. I don't think you can give an error to the first baseman.
No, I didn't see that, but no.
I saw it, but I think it'll be corrected. Now Bellini, more importantly, a double in 4 trips. A ground ball, and Oregon State could get out of the inning. And they are playing Bellini to pull. That right side wide open. Armstrong, the second baseman, almost behind second. And a breaking ball starts the at-bat from Munt.
So far, with all the shifting that Oregon State has done in this game, not once have I seen it work. Haven't seen a ground ball hit into the shift properly. In fact, we've seen it go the other direction.
That's a good pitch.
Yeah, and right before that pitch too, Rich, I saw Andy Armstrong move back into more of a traditional position, trying to get that double play.
Deanna, the tying run at third. Santiago, who has good speed, is at first. Would you start him here?
Not in this count, I wouldn't.
Chopper, right side. One out there. Safe at first. Tie game. Head first slide. Bellini just beat it. And certainly a play that we'll look at. And probably Oregon State will challenge. It's a difficult call for a first base umpire when a runner slides into first.
You never like to see runners slide at first. It's actually slower, but this would have been an unbelievable turn. It's not hit hard enough to be a routine double play.
Boy, I don't know. We're going to need a better look to tell one way or the other than that. And this looks like a pretty definitive look. Interior of the glove, it's out of camera view, but it looks like the hand is there. I think that call is at the very least going to stand.
Look at the stretch too by Zack Taylor. Again, that's what you like about Zack. Not hitting great, even though the big one today, but defensively he's solid. Terrific turn by Bo Phillip.
This has not been a clean game for Oregon State, not by a long shot. And this inning is a good example. A hit batter after the sacrifice bunt, the throwing error by Phillip. Bellini's hustle has him standing and waiting and hoping that the review goes Cincinnati's way. If it does, the game is tied.
You know, we've seen this too with Cincinnati today as well, with whether it's a mental mistake or a physical mistake, a play that wasn't made by Oregon State. Every time just about Cincinnati's capitalized. You go back to the ground ball and then the bobble at first base right before that with Bellini, and then all of a sudden, just like that, it creates a possible run here for him.
And that's what Scott Googins told us yesterday at the Cincinnati workout. All right, this is synced time code through the frame to frame, and it looks like the hand is there. It's hard to see where the hand, the original call holds enormous weight. You've got to have convincing evidence that you can overturn this. And he's safe. And the game is tied, and Cincinnati has come back to tie it here in the 8th. Bellini gets an RBI. And here is Wyatt Stapp. And that's also going to bring Nate Yeski out, the pitching coach for Oregon State. Joey Munt, remember, had 2 strikes on Mason Deanna, hit him. Johnson had the nice sacrifice bunt. Phillip got well to his left to cut off the Santiago ground ball, but the throw was low. Taylor couldn't pick it. And Bellini narrowly beat the throw to first for the run to score. But these Bearcats, all the credit in the world for a team heavy underdogs tonight. Looking for the safe call. This is how they've been living for the last 2 weeks, though, right?
I think he knows what's at stake.
Beavers are going to make a pitching change. 6-6 in the 8th in Corvallis. Scene when Cincinnati raced through the American Conference Baseball Tournament, winning 4 games, upsets all around the way, and punched their ticket for the first time since 1974 to the NCAA Tournament. And man, have they enjoyed themselves here tonight. Jake Mulholland, Snohomish, Washington. Mulholland part of this fabulous bullpen. Look at the slender ERA. Lefty on lefty here. That left side wide open for a bunt, and Stapp took a shot at it and fouls it off.
Now, Nate Yeski does not buy into closer roles. He believes, though, in high leverage situations. And this is kind of one of those situations where it's a tie game, runner on first. Now, Mulholland can go long. He's not a guy that can just go 1 inning. He can give you 3-4 good quality innings. 90 mile an hour, he'll get 90, 91, pretty good curveball. And they still have Iser, another lefty down there in the bullpen, ready as well if they need him.
Many of you watching don't watch a lot of college baseball. Once the NCAA tournament hits, a lot of Major League Baseball fans, especially tonight, want to see Adley Rushman play, and he's been fun to watch, both defensively and offensively. But just to let you know, they have walk-up songs and entrance songs at the college level. Walk-up songs for the hitters and entry songs for the relievers. And the song that Mulholland came into was Johnny Cash, God's Gonna Cut You Down. I've never heard that before. That's a little floater into left field. That's going to fall for a hit. And Stapp with a base hit. And Cincinnati's not done here in the 8th inning.
Well, no one's going to cut down that blooper. These guys battle at the plate. I'll tell you, Cincinnati just has no quit in them.
One of the storylines here tonight is this guy. Joey Wiemer, fabulous tonight. 2 doubles, scored twice, RBI, enormous catch to save a run, and he has drawn the ire of this crowd here in Corvallis. They have been on him all night. Even his head coach, Scott Googins, talked about it. Wiemer has handled it perfectly. Outfield can't get much deeper.
He is right there on that warning track. Nothing's getting over his head.
And a strike from Mulholland. Bearcats have a couple runners on and a run across. Wiemer rolls it foul. A question for you. We just took a look at Joe Casey nearly playing on the warning track in left field. At what point is he too deep? Is there diminished returns from playing that deep with a ball that could fall in front of you as opposed to nothing that can get over you?
You know, some players are better at coming in and some are better at going out. I think in this situation, in a tie game, 2 guys on, they don't want anything over his head. They're going to take that chance. Plus, I'm not sure if he's great at going back on baseballs. I think they feel he goes better in. A guy like Barry Bonds played super shallow because he went back on balls so well. I don't think they're at a no-double situation yet. You can tell by the infielders, the corners are not on the line. But this is not the only time we've seen him back there. In the 3rd or 4th inning, he was back there. I just think that he does better coming in on the baseball.
Mulholland ready. Ball in the dirt. Rushman knocks it down. And the count is 1-2. Bearcats with a couple runners on. Bellini is at second. Stapp at first. Weaver has 2 doubles tonight. And this Bearcat team is not going away. End of the bat. It would look like a changeup.
There's so much movement in Weimer's swing. His pre-approach, his stance, everything about it is moving.
I liked, I said Eric Burns with the way he plays the game and the flair and all of that. And you brought up Hunter Pence in terms of the swing and the movement. Not your conventional swing, but it certainly has worked for him. Rushman out for a visit. Jake Mulholland, a big part of a really successful bullpen this year.
Anytime you see an infielder go out there with your catcher and pitcher, to me that's a changeup of signs. Run into some catchers. I haven't met a catcher that's not paranoid about someone stealing signs at second base. I mean, they are most paranoid people. They'll run out there and change signs. A little tougher now with the visit rule, but
we'll see what he called 1-2. Line to left. Casey after it, and he's there. And a good thing he was that deep. He gets to the ball and makes the catch. It's 6-6 in Corvallis. Well, where do we begin with this one? The fact that Cincinnati decided underdog got off to a quick start and had a 5-2 lead. Oregon State rallied in the 7th. A bases-loaded walk to Adley Rushman. How about that with nobody out to score a run? And Oregon State would get 4 in that inning. But a run in the 8th and a 6-6 game. For more coverage to the Division I baseball tournament and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. Here we go. Bottom 8. And a breaking ball taken for ball 1. Kyler McMahon has had a busy night in center field and at the plate. Homered in the 5th. Was hit by a pitch, and that really opened the door to that rally in the 7th. We have a vast net of researchers that have been working on that intentional walk with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
And we added Josh Hamilton to Barry Bonds in the major leagues. We have a missive from Oklahoma State chiming in that their research has unearthed a 1985 game in the Midwest Regional versus Wichita State. Pete Incaviglia was walked intentionally by Gene Stevenson, the legendary coach for the Shockers, who won a national championship there.
Well, Pete was all about home runs. I mean, he set all kind of records for collegiate home runs. Played with Pete in Philadelphia.
Your teammate on that World Series team, right?
Pete knew how to get good pitches. If you threw inside on Pete Incaviglia, he just charged the mound. That was his defense. Don't throw in on me or this is what happens.
Good heat there on the fastball. And a strikeout for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
The order for Oregon State, the right fielder, number 7, Tyler Malone.
Nathan Moore came in to finish that 7th. Tyler Malone, and there are 2 big outs to get because you got Adley Rushman 2 hitters away, actually 3 hitters away. The leadoff man, Tyler Malone. It's been the little guys who have muscled up. Now Malone, this is in the 3rd inning, out of the leadoff spot. And then you had McMahon going deep for Oregon State from the 9 spot. Pitch is out. Zack Taylor coming off the bench for a big hit for Oregon State. A 2-run single that tied it. High to right, Bumpus. And there's 2 outs.
You know, Nathan Moore, and I haven't said a whole lot about Nathan Moore, who came in to pitch here. Fastball 91 with a good curveball, but it's a really good story because last year, here's a kid who could not throw a strike. It was to the point where the coaches didn't know what to do. In fact, I think when he came in as a freshman, he didn't make the team. And he said, you know, I'm gonna work at it, and he has. The coaches, when you talk to them, credit his work ethic, and the fact that he's out here pitching has completely turned around the way that he pitches. Very effective so far through this game.
Good fastball there, and you know he's coming right after McGarry with Rushman on deck. Adley Rushman has sent not only our research department here at ESPN, but others across the country who are staying up late searching for that bases loaded walk, intentional walk. Bellini in the hole, strong throw, nice play, clean inning for Moore and the Bearcats. Let's do the 9th, shall we? 6-6. Here in Corvallis, earlier today, Michigan took down Creighton, shut them out, just incredible. 3 home runs for the Wolverines, playing without the Big Ten Player of the Year, Jordan Brewer. Carl Kaufman was terrific on the mound, and here, 6-6. Preston Jones appears in center field. This has been a wild ride. Cincinnati decided underdog, led most of the game, big comeback. Intentional walk with the bases loaded to Adley Rushman was part of the 4-run rally in the 7th for Oregon State. Cincinnati tied it in the 8th, and here they are, battling in the 9th against the defending national champs. With that motto that Kevin Stocker has adopted now for his own well-being, why not us? That one's not hit very deep, and that's going to fall for a base hit, and that's the danger when you play deep in the outfields. You got speed on now. Mercer is aboard. Mulholland continuing for the Beavers. Mercer's got 3 hits. He's been on base 4 times. You got to know that somewhere, I hope that they've kept a few of the Skyline Chili locations open in Cincinnati for the Bearcat fans. It's such a great sports city, both with Major League Baseball, college basketball.
You say like you know that place well.
I'm a big fan of Cincinnati.
I was talking about Skyline Chili.
Yeah, I'm more of a Grater's ice cream guy, which is the ice cream of choice when you're calling a game at Cincinnati or Xavier or going to see the Reds. Fly ball, left center field. That's hit well. Jones on the run, and Jones won't get it. It's off the wall. Here comes Mercer around third. He's gonna score. A.J. Bumpus with an RBI triple, and Cincinnati has the lead. Bumpus is unbelievable. 5 for 5, 3 singles, a triple, and a homer. And there's nobody out. Wow.
So all of his hit, everything that we've seen so far has been pulled. This ball is the other way. Look at the jump here. Mercer runs it correctly. He reads it. He gets to second and kind of hangs. Bumpus, both of these two guys right here really turned it around in the conference tournament. All of a sudden, the back-to-back. Phenomenal.
Now, wheels turning here. Lefty on lefty action. A runner at third. And you got the infield creeping in. Bumpus has speed. Murphy, though, has struggled tonight. He is 0 for 4. Takes a fastball out. And it's 2-0.
Mulholland in this situation, even though he's behind in the count, needs a strikeout. Infield-wise, a runner on third base, they're not going to send him unless the ball is through. You can play just a step or two deeper.
Whoa! That's a wicked angle. Up and over the luxury suites down that first base side. And the count is 2-1. Cincinnati has the lead again. He's hooked a couple. That's not a, if you're in that first base dugout, that's not a comfortable place to be if you've seen those last two swings. The infield's in. Bearcats looking to add on. Cincinnati had to get hot and win their conference tournament just to get here. They limp in with a record of just over 500. One game over 500. Decided underdogs against the defending national champs. He hits that ball a ton.
And that almost looked like a changeup.
And deep into the night, it disappears.
Mulholland has such a good curveball. He hasn't even, I think maybe threw it the first pitch in this at-bat. Threw it for a ball. Haven't seen it again. That's what they've got him on each time. Murphy struck out twice on curveballs.
Stays alive. And remember the words of the Bearcat, Kevin Youkilis. A great major leaguer, the two-time world champion, Gold Glover, and a Bearcat himself, who addressed the team before the game, and he started talking about the NCAA basketball tournament and March Madness and what it meant to be an underdog. Swing and a miss. Good pitch by Mulholland. When the top of the ninth is over, instead of going to break, we're going to bring you the Youkilis speech, or at least the highlights thereof. And when he said, think about what it feels like when you're watching that tournament and when you're watching an underdog beat a heavy favorite, how much fun that is. And that's exactly what Cincinnati is doing right now. Infield in even tighter now for the right-handed bat, Mason Deanna. Mulholland trying to keep it at just one run. Cincinnati needs and wants insurance.
So now you can be a little bit more competitive here with him as far as trying to get him to swing at your pitch. Stay on the corners a little bit, get him to roll over something. If he happens to get on, your double play is in order.
Popped him up, should be playable. Rushman tosses the mask, has the pop-up. That's a big out. Bumpus is still at third. Adley Rushman will lead off for Oregon State in the bottom of the ninth. Jeremy Johnson now is 0 for 2. It's a fly ball to right field. Malone is there and makes the catch. Rushman will lead off Oregon State down by a run. Let's go back to before the game, into the Bearcat locker room, and Kevin Youkilis.
How many guys watch March Madness here? How many times do you guys go nuts when the underdog beats the top dog? Everyone goes nuts for that. People are rooting for you guys to beat Oregon State. You can do it. Stick together, have fun. When things start speeding up and you start getting anxiety, take a deep breath. Relax. It's okay. The best of the best. I'm talking to the superstars in Major League Baseball. Meditate. Take a deep breath. Take a step back, compose themselves, and go out and do it. So, that being said, guys, have fun. Smile. You guys look all serious, man. Be loose. It's the best time of your life. You're going to be talking about this to your grandchildren. So enjoy it, have fun, and I just want to say thank you. For the UC Baseball alum of the past and all the people going forward, you guys are doing something very special for this program. So know that, and thank you. So have fun, like I said, and make sure I stay here till at least Sunday, all right? I got a plane ticket on Sunday. I'm staying here till Sunday.
That was before the game. Kevin Youkilis has been in his seat and has enjoyed the ride here. And here is Cincinnati, 3 outs away from a stunning upset of Oregon State. But nothing comes easy in the NCAA tournament. Clayton Thompson, the junior, the lefty out of Hamilton, Ohio, arrives in solid numbers. And who does he get to face? Adley Rushman.
Well, yeah, and Thompson's a big arm, and not only that, the advantage he'll have is he's going to turn Rushman around. That can be difficult at the end of a game. The question is now, do you pitch to him? And I think, yes, you pitch to him, because right now it's your big gun, your big arm against their big gun. It doesn't mean you throw something down the middle, but this is just competition at its best right here.
Rushman walked intentionally with the bases loaded and nobody out in the 7th. That was part of the drama of the 4-run inning for Oregon State. They had the lead. It didn't last. Rushman, first pitch swinging in the air to right. A.J. Bumpus is there, and he squeezes it for the first out. Thompson goes after him and gets the out. Bo Phillip, Zack Taylor now for Oregon State.
Well, Adley tried to ambush him. I think he had been taking some fastballs throughout the game. They understand who Thompson is. What I mean by that, he throws a lot of fastballs early, and I just think he said, you know what, I'm going to take my shot. There's nothing wrong with that. He didn't get it. It's a good try.
Bo Phillip is 0 for 3. Scott Googins, the head coach at Cincinnati, has managed this game like his team has played. They have not backed down. The gamble to walk Rushman on the scoreboard didn't work out, but his team has picked him up. They tied the game the next inning. They took the lead in the top of this inning here in the 9th. Remember, Taylor on deck had the 2-run single to tie the game.
They look defensively right now. They're in a hard no-double situation on the corners.
Two and one. Clayton Thompson, 3rd out of the bullpen tonight. Into the bat, floats into shallow right center, and it's caught there. Mercer, who's had the big night offensively, runs it down, and Cincinnati is 1 out away from fulfilling the ask of Kevin Youkilis and getting him through Sunday. They win this game, they're guaranteed a game on Sunday.
Number 16, Zack Taylor.
Here's Taylor now. Part of that glorious run to the national championship last year. A frustrating season this year. Big hit, the two-run single to tie it. Thompson misses with a fastball.
Thompson, I tell you, looks so relaxed on the mound. All of their guys that we've seen just don't seem rattled by the moment. And maybe it goes back to that conversation. Maybe they took that to heart, but he just seems like he's cruising on the mound.
Center field, Johnson. Why not us? Cincinnati has taken down the defending national champs here in Corvallis. 7-6, Kevin Euclid. And all the Bearcats, whether here in Corvallis or in Cincinnati, all across Ohio, the Capital One player of the game, A.J. Bumpus. That triple drove in the game-winning run in the top of the ninth.
Hey, look, Cincinnati, granted they got their hits, but it was always after some mistakes from Oregon State. This is what they do. They're going to take advantage of those mistakes. That's how they win games. Also, they're just not rattled by the moment. They knew who they were playing. They were excited to be playing them. Man, they came out, they were very relaxed. Oregon State, on the other hand, they got some big moments, but they just couldn't capitalize.
All right, who had Michigan and Cincinnati in the 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern game in your brackets? And Michigan with the shutout over Creighton, and Cincinnati with an incredible roller coaster ride here to beat Oregon State. Creighton and Oregon State have their early game. We'll see you tomorrow. And then we'll have Cincinnati and Michigan. Man, it started with great defense and Jeremy Johnson. Weimer had the great catch. And Bumpus had the big night. For Kevin Stalker and our entire ESPN crew, Cincinnati with the upsets. Good night from Corvallis.